Chapter 350. I trust you've already made a decision for me, Tongning said in seriousness as she looked into Mo Ting's eyes. In fact, I'm sure it's the most suitable for me. I'll help you get a role. You'll definitely like it, but it's just a supporting role. Tongning smiled, but her arms around Mo Ting subconsciously tightened. Because in this world, only Mo Ting understood her. He understood that she liked to be down to earth. And he understood that she was afraid of being overpraised by people with ulterior motives, so he started from a supporting role. He understood her eagerness to hone her acting skills. I don't care if I'm worthy or not. As long as I'm the main character in your life, I don't care. After all, you'll always be by my side, right? Mo Ting carried her in his arms and brought her home. His handsome face suddenly softened. Mrs. Mo, we are about to announce our marriage. Isn't it a little too late for you to ask this question? Tongning smiled. After boarding the car, Tongning leaned into Mo Ting's embrace. After returning home, Mo Ting placed the script in front of Tongning. As soon as she saw it, she fell in love with the character. This script was called Hidden Expert. It told the story of an illustrious prince in the Yu Kingdom who almost died at the hands of his twin brother because of a struggle in the palace. After being rescued from serious injuries, he lived in seclusion in the mountains. Many years later, the prince returned to the palace from the marketplace and regained his power. As for Tongning, she was playing the role of a female hooligan disguised as a man. She was lazy and gluttonous. She followed the king for many years and in the end, died trying to repay the king's kindness. A woman dressed as a man, and a hooligan at that. Most importantly, the actor playing the role of a prince. Tongning looked at Mo Ting in surprise. Acting with him will put a lot of pressure on me. But this is a rare opportunity. Mo Ting had made up his mind to let Tongning improve her acting skills. So, even if it was a strange actress, he could still harden his heart. Tongning looked at her character and felt her heart itch. I'll accept. Over the past few days, the words Tongning's acting had been a hot topic. This was all because of her audition video. Of course, it was a good thing that acting skills were proven, but it would also cause a lot of problems such as exaggeration. Fans' flattery was one of them, and at times like this, it was easy to be used to kill. Tongning was well aware of this trick. She had used it against Mo Euro before. Now there were people comparing her to a big shot behind her back and making enemies for her everywhere. This was all because a tall tree attracts the wind. Afterwards, Gunshot officially announced that they would be using Zhang Yidan as the female lead. Interestingly enough, everyone knew that Tongning had rejected the role of female lead. Everyone was guessing. According to Hai Rui's background and power, it wouldn't be unreasonable for Mo Ting to give Tongning the best resources, even if it was a Hollywood blockbuster. But Tongning's actions did indeed attract gossip. Even if she received the best resources, no one would be satisfied with her decision. Just like the supporting actress who won the Fei Tian Award. Her acting skills were obvious to all, but because of her husband's great resources, she won the Best Supporting Actress award. However, no one understood the significance of this award. An award that wasn't recognized by the public wouldn't feel hot in one's hands, because it didn't live up to its name. Coincidentally, a super IP was currently in the casting stage, and the person in charge of the super IP mentioned Tongning. As a result, Tongning was assumed to be the female lead. Tongning's acting isn't bad, but didn't they already confirm that our family would be the lead? I feel like the netizens are praising Tongning too much. She's actually only barely passable. Hai Rui is putting Tongning on such a high pedestal. Aren't they afraid that she'll fall? Unfortunately, a few days later, Hai Rui announced that Tongning's next role would be a supporting character in Hidden Expert, Xiaoxi. This role had nothing to do with the super IP. Most importantly, she would be playing a supporting character. A supporting character. This time, everyone was convinced by Hai Rui's handling of matters and Mo Ting's EQ. The last few scenes of Stupid would be filmed in the next 2 to 3 days. After Tongning finished filming, Long Jie asked for time off. This time, I won't be able to escape. I need to go back with Lu Che to see his parents. Tongning was in the middle of removing her makeup. Seeing Long Jie's hesitant expression, she shook her head. You've always been fearless. Can't you handle your in-laws? I'm nervous. Long Jia held onto Tongning's shoulder and swayed it back and forth. You aren't nervous because boss is helping you. After you announce your marriage, you won't be able to escape from seeing his parents. When that time comes, you will still doubt yourself and wonder if they will be unhappy with you. Tongning lowered her head and felt Long Jia's words made sense. Lu Che will help you. That's true. In that case, should I help you find a temporary assistant while I'm away? Go in peace. Assistant Ting will take care of everything, Tongning said before she turned around and continued removing her makeup. In that case, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. Long Jia looked at the time and quickly retreated. My flight is tonight. I haven't packed yet, so I'm going to leave first. As she watched Long Jia leave, Tongning gave Mo Ting a phone call. I'm about to finish filming, but Long Jia asked for time off. Ting, I need an assistant. It seems I have no choice but to personally take care of my wife. I have a good candidate in mind. But I'm not sure if you will agree, Tongning suddenly said. Shiner has pretty much recovered. Why don't you ask her to come over? I'll get Feng Yu to contact her. Mo Ting always agreed to Tongning's requests. In that case, I'll wait for your good news. After speaking, Mo Ting was about to hang up the phone when Tongning held him back. Long Jia and Lu Che returned home today. What I mean is she went to see her parents. Should I also prepare to see the Mo family? What about the Tang family? Mo Ting asked. I've already prepared a gift for your grandfather. If you still care, I'll get someone to deliver it to them. Only you would be so considerate, Mo Ting asked as he held back his sobs. After taking a deep breath, she replied, Go ahead. After all, it's better to let them know that I'm married. Okay, I'll arrange everything. You don't need to worry about anything. Actually, at this moment, Mo Ting finally felt that they were about to get married and not like they'd already been married for a long time. Announcing their marriage meant that they were about to enter a new stage and start a new life. Thinking about how he would be able to hug Tongning openly from now on, he couldn't help but feel excited. It turned out, when one likes someone, they would grow to like them more and more. Chapter 351. Late at night, inside the luxurious palace-like Tang family home. After Tang Xian entered the living room, the old housekeeper approached her with a box in his hands. Big miss, this is a gift from Harry Winston for the chairman. But the chairman is currently at the Shishan villa, so. Tang Xian flicked her seaweed-like hair and glanced behind her. Give it to me. Okay. The old housekeeper handed over the box and turned to leave. However, Tang Xian stopped him. Uncle Wu, don't let grandfather know about this. He's getting old, he shouldn't be bothered by things like this. Uncle Wu understands, the old housekeeper replied respectfully as he left. Tang Xian carried the white box in her arms and looked at the MN logo on it. She then removed the white bow-tied lid. Looking at the photo of Tongning and Mo Ting, Tang Xian's eyes grew big as a dark expression appeared on her face. This was simply a gift, so Mo Ting only included a photo of himself and Tongning. The rest were all precious gifts that didn't have the purpose of an invitation. They were simply meant to inform her of their arrival. So, what Tang Xian understood was that the couple were ready to get married. Was the Mo family really willing to accept a model into their family? Tang Xian threw away the box, wanting to confirm this information. But, as a socialite, she didn't want to get involved with the entertainment industry. Perhaps she could ask Qi Xinyan? Tang Xian asked the housekeeper to find the Qi family's phone number, and immediately made a call. On the other end of the phone, Qi Xinyan was a little confused. The last time she visited the Tang family home, she could clearly sense that Tang Xian did not like her. Miss Qi, perhaps you know someone in the entertainment industry that can confirm the marriage between Tongning and the CEO of Hai Rui? Marriage? Qi Xinyan was stunned. How is that possible? A few months ago, Mo Ting wanted to marry me. How could he possibly marry a model? Want to marry you? What does that mean? Qi Xinyan was stumped. Of course, she couldn't possibly tell Mo Ting that he had randomly selected her. So her words were half true and half false. All in all, she was trying to say that Mo Ting had previously prepared to marry her. In fact, they had already set a date and had already arrived at the civil affairs office. However, she didn't think it through at the time and regretted it. So the marriage was temporarily put on hold. Since he is your man, you should keep an eye on him. As the heiress of the Qi family, do you really want your man stolen away by a model? If that's what Emoting likes, there's nothing I can do. Qi Xinyan couldn't let go of her pride and beg Emoting. After all, she had already been humiliated by Emoting on the night of Chanel. Since there's nothing you can do, then don't get involved in this matter from now on. After speaking, Tang Xian hung up the phone with a dark expression on her face. Did Tongning know about Emoting and Qi Xinyan's relationship? This relationship? Thinking of this, Tang Xian dialed her assistant's number. Help me do something important. Please give me your orders, President Tang. Tongning is getting married to Hairue's CEO Emoting. Help me spread the news that Qi Xinyan and Emoting are a couple and are on the verge of getting married. The assistant froze for a moment in confusion. President Tang, why do you want to stop Tongning from getting married? Once she marries into the Emo family, she will have a natural barrier and it will be easier for her to return to the Tang family. I understand. I will handle this matter for you. The assistant replied respectfully, but they were already husband and wife. As Stupid was nearing the end of its filming, Emoting slowed down Tongning's pace and arranged for her to meet with the production team of Hidden Expert. During the meeting, Emoting was not the main character, but simply by sitting there, he gave off a kingly aura that was hard to ignore. Because of Emoting's participation, the director and producer of the production treated Tongning with extra respect. In reality, for a newcomer like Tongning, there was no need for them to meet on their own. Of course, the most important reason was because Tongning was very malleable. The filming location for Hidden Expert is quite dangerous. Is Miss Tongning really going to be okay? In reality, the director was worried that Tongning's delicate body wouldn't be able to handle the pain and would complain to Emoting. If that happened, there would be no point in filming and they might even have to replace her. So the director had to make things clear in case they ended up having a falling out and making things look bad. How tough can it be? Emoting chuckled as he held onto Tongning's hand. She can endure standing barefoot in the snow at temperatures below 0 degrees Celsius. Could it be even tougher than that? I've looked at the script and I'm sure with the production team's preparations, there shouldn't be any problems. I'm just worried. What if she gets injured during the filming process? Especially Miss Tongning's legs. The director is worrying too much. By the way, you don't need to be so nervous. Hearing Emoting's response, the director let out a sigh of relief. Okay, I'll treat Tongning like a normal actress. That would be great. I thought President Emo would feel bad and make a lot of requests. The director tried to test Emoting. I do feel bad. Plus, I'm afraid I won't be able to take care of her in such a harsh environment. But since this is something she wants to do, I will naturally do my best to fulfill her wish. After all, she is my only treasure. Emoting's meaning was clear. As long as it was a normal arrangement, he wouldn't interfere. But if someone was deliberately causing trouble, then sorry. He wasn't going to tolerate this. In that case, I look forward to working with you. After dinner, the couple prepared to return home. However, as soon as they boarded the car, Tongning noticed there was an extra person in the back seat, Ningjia. Shiner. Tongning turned around and held onto Han Shiner's hand as she scanned her from head to toe. Have you recovered? Don't worry, I'm healthy. Han Shiner waved her hand. Fong Yu gave me a phone call and said you were looking for an assistant. Coincidentally, I wasn't sure what to do, so Fong Yu found me. Is your body really fine? Don't worry, I go to the gym regularly and work hard to get stronger. Han Shiner smiled at Tongning. Thinking about being your assistant, I'm really happy. I hope Long Jie can have a child soon. That way I can continue to follow you. Tongning can have 2 assistants, Emoting said as he drove. As Tongning was choosing her own assistants, Hairue did not interfere. Really? Tongning nodded her head. President Emo wouldn't lie to me. Han Shiner looked at Emoting's back from behind. Indeed, only someone like Tongning could control him. After all, just the thought of a black-bellied man like him made her tremble in fear. I will send you some information. You need to hurry and take over Tongning's job. Understood, boss. Han Xiner saluted the two men. Chapter 352. This was Han Xiner's first time in Hyatt Regency, and her first time entering Tongning and Mo Ting's love nest. Seeing everything in the home was based on Tongning's preferences and everything in pairs, Han Xiner couldn't help but feel a little dizzy as she spun around in the living room. Your giant poster. Aha! Tongning looked at Han Xiner spinning around like a child and couldn't help but smile. I like the back view of the two of you filming LM's commercial the most. Do you have one? In the bedroom, Tongning smiled. Stop spinning around, I'm getting dizzy. Ningjia, are you happy to be married to boss? Han Xiner couldn't help but think of her disappointing brother. Although she was Han Yufan's sister, she couldn't deny that someone like Tongning deserved the best man. Very happy. Tongning nodded her head without hesitation. So happy that sometimes, I even want to thank Han Yufan. Don't be silly. Han Xiner sat down beside Tongning and pulled out her work notes. Since I am your assistant, let's go through the contents of our work. Tongning looked at Han Xiner's serious expression, and also became serious. Although Xiner and Longjie were both optimistic people, Longjie was a little more hot-tempered and Xiner was more mischievous. Plus, when one looked at her smile, they felt it was bright and beautiful. After a few more scenes, stupid, will be finished. But tomorrow night, you will need to attend the press conference for Hidden Expert. At the beginning of next month, you will join the cast of Hidden Expert. Of course, the most important thing is to announce your marriage to boss. I am truly happy for you. As Tongning looked at Han Xiner's smiling eyes, she finally realized she was already someone's wife. Aren't you guys going to hold a wedding? Now is not the time. I don't want to give her a warehouse wedding. Mo Ting suddenly interrupted as he walked out of the study room. Mo Ting stepped out of the study room and suddenly interrupted. Take your time to prepare. After all, she can't run away. I'll listen to you. Tongning had no objections to matters like this. Han Xiner looked at the couple and knew it wasn't good to stay any longer. After explaining what she needed to do, she prepared to leave Hyatt Regency. However, Tongning suddenly called out to her. Where are you staying now? Boss has prepared a big apartment for me, don't worry. After speaking, Han Xiner waved goodbye to the couple. Tongning watched helplessly as Han Xiner left. She's still so young. Yet I've already forced her to be my assistant. Will it hinder her future? Keep her by your side to hone her skills. She is the successor of the PR department that Fang Yu has his eyes on. He then sat down beside Tongning and wrapped his arm around her. The gift has already been delivered to the Tang family. However, I can't guarantee that your grandfather will receive it personally. In reality, the fact that Mo Ting was willing to send gifts to the Tang family was already because of Tongning. All these years, Elder Tang had neglected Tongning, causing his wife to suffer so much. So it was impossible for him to treat her with respect. It's fine. Tongning replied as she leaned into Mo Ting's embrace. It really was fine. After all, she and the Tang family had already decided to cut ties with each other. Mo Ting hugged Tongning without saying a word. The couple enjoyed this moment of intimacy between the two of them. Not long after, Tongning suddenly called out, Ting. Ah, I still feel like this isn't real, Tongning mumbled. How could I marry such a good person who dotes on me so much? Every day after marrying you, I feel like I'm dreaming. You also allowed me to marry a wife that is willing to do anything for me, Mo Ting said as he lifted Tongning from the sofa. He then slowly walked towards the bedroom. So no matter how the outside world tries to interfere, and no matter how important other things are, I will always put you first for the rest of my life. Me too. I only have you. After speaking, Tongning subconsciously wrapped her arms around Mo Ting's neck. Wifey, it's already late at night. I don't think we need to say anything about our love for each other. Let's just keep it in our hearts. Most importantly, let's do it. After speaking, the bedroom door swung open. Mo Ting carried Tongning over to the bed and laid on top of her. Shocking news. Mo Ting is getting married? Is she the bride? Huge difference in status finally separates lovers. The CEO of Hyrule is getting married? Tongning is forced to break up with Mo Ting because of her model identity? This was the entertainment news that made the headlines the next day. Just as everyone thought the couple were about to get married, news of Mo Ting marrying a rich heiress emerged. This time, Tongning's fans had the biggest reaction. Is Mo Ting toying with Tongning's feelings? I don't believe it. Haze. Rich families are all like this. I've always been worried that the Mo family wouldn't acknowledge Tongning's identity. I just never expected it to happen so soon. Is he trying to force the couple apart? No way. The fans of the couple should wake up to reality. After all, the entertainment industry is this complicated. Rumor had it that the heiress that Mo Ting was marrying had an illustrious background. Of course, everyone understood that this was a business marriage. But no matter what, they were most afraid that Mo Ting would choose the marriage and give up on Tongning. Inside the CEO's office, Mo Ting had already seen the news. As Lu Che was taking Long Jia home, Fang Yu was temporarily handling some of Lu Che's matters. President Mo, could it be that your family? Did you find out who spread the news? Just before we got married, I asked Lu Che to randomly pick a woman and gave her a phone call telling her to marry me. In the end she was picked and she was late, right? Fang Yu found out about this plot from Hu Jingjing, so he smiled. Since that's the case, this matter can only be spread by the Qi family. What does she want to do? Don't be so absolute. Mo Ting closed his expensive handmade pen and lowered his head in thought for a few seconds. He then continued, logically speaking, the Qi family wouldn't reveal this to anyone. So I thought of another possibility. What? I've sent someone to deliver a gift to the Tang family to notify them of our marriage. After replying, Mo Ting stood up from his chair and walked over to the floor-to-ceiling window. The timing is perfect. But aren't there very few people who know about this? Even if there were very few, wouldn't you already know? Mo Ting turned around and raised an eyebrow. The Tang family and the Qi family have the same status, so it's not strange that they share resources. If it's really the Tang family, what's their motive? The biggest possibility is that they want to create a misunderstanding between Tongning and I. Because I haven't told the Tang family that we are already married, they probably think we are just getting ready to get married. Mo Ting sneered. I haven't even gotten even with them, yet they've provoked me. Interesting. Chapter 353. After the scandal broke out, everyone on set looked at Tongning in a different light as they began to discuss her in private. How do you guys think Tongning can continue acting? The entertainment industry is so realistic. You can get dumped so easily. If President Mo marries someone else, wouldn't that mean Tongning will be back to her original self? Shoo. Keep your voice down. A few extras sat together and discussed, but their voices were actually quite loud. Even Lin Sheng, who was sitting not too far away, could hear them. So he sat down beside Tongning and asked, "What's going on?" "What do you mean, what's going on?" Tongning asked curiously. "About the breakup and the fact that President Mo is marrying someone else." Lin Sheng replied straightforwardly. Lin Sheng asked bluntly. This was the first time Lin Sheng had cared about someone else's private life other than acting. "It's just a rumor. We are fine." Tongning responded to the heated rumors with simple words. "Since that's the case, then ignore it and focus on acting." "Okay, Shengge." Tongning lifted her head and replied in seriousness. In reality, Lin Sheng was more than worthy of being her acting teacher. In just a short period of time, Lin Sheng had taught her a lot. "In that case, I'll go film now." Tongning nodded her head. She completely ignored the heated discussions that were going on around her. Shiner followed beside Tongning. Although she was also angry, she wasn't as impulsive as Long Jia. She analyzed the situation logically. "I think the person behind this is a bit stupid. Not to mention, you and President Mo are already married. Even if you weren't, based on how much President Mo cares about you, he wouldn't give up on you for the sake of a marriage." "Because President Mo doesn't care." Tongning burst out laughing. "What are you laughing at?" "I'm laughing at the difference between you and Long Jia. If Long Jia was here, she would definitely curse the person behind this 1,000 times before she would stop." Tongning closed the script of Hidden Expert and stood up. She then turned to Han Xiner and said, "It seems the reason she likes to eat is so she has the strength to curse." In short, Tongning did not seem affected at all. Even the people around her looked at her sympathetically. However, Tongning couldn't be bothered to explain. After all, they were about to announce their marriage and the truth would soon be revealed. However, things got out of hand. In order to get first-hand information, the paparazzi used all kinds of methods to barge into the set, which seriously affected the filming progress. Hearing this, Coke said, "You only have a few scenes left. Go home and rest for a few days. After things settle down, you can come back and continue." Tongning nodded her head. Actually, she had the same intention. "I just saw Tongning leave. Doesn't she still have filming tonight? Why are you still filming at a time like this? How pitiful." They say that in ancient times, accompanying a king was like accompanying a tiger. Actually, following the big boss of the entertainment industry isn't that much different. Yesterday you were a treasure, but today, you're worse than a chicken. Chicken? Gossiping was one thing, but when Tongning was compared to a chicken, Han Xiner was not happy. So she turned around and snapped. "What did you just say? Say that again?" "I'm telling the truth. Right now, rumors are going crazy that Tongning has been dumped by President Mo because President Mo is marrying a rich heiress. How could the man be questioned by a mere assistant?" The moment the flame was raised, his words became even more unpleasant. "You, Xiner." Tongning stopped Han Xiner. She then turned around and said to the woman, "I am still on set. You should leave some leeway for others and yourself. Otherwise, you will forever be an extra and will never improve." After speaking, Tongning turned her head. Just as the woman was about to explode, Mo Ting's car suddenly stopped in front of Tongning. Like he did it on purpose, he stepped out of the car and wrapped his arm around Tongning, personally escorting her into the car. Everyone on set saw this. Especially the woman that was casually gossiping a moment ago. Her face turned red. Didn't they break up? Why did President Mo personally come to pick her up? It's just a rumor. Look at the two. They are still displaying their love like they normally do. Of course, provoking the boss wasn't an easy thing to get over. However, the fate of the two extras was yet to come. For something like this, all Mo Ting needed to do was make a phone call, and they would never be able to act again. "Is everyone on set treating you like this?" Mo Ting asked on the way home. "No, only the two extras from before," Tongning replied. "Good." She turned her head and noticed the gloomy look in Mo Ting's eyes. She immediately asked, "What's going on? This matter? Can you not ask anything about this matter and let me handle it?" Mo Ting asked. He didn't want to tell her that the people that stabbed her in the back were from the Tang family. They were her family. Tongning looked carefully into Mo Ting's eyes and understood a little. "If you didn't tell me, I would have a lot of guesses and thoughts. Actually, not many people know about this incident, and the timing was so coincidental. Even if you didn't tell me, I would still have a rough idea. After all, this isn't the first time something like this has happened." Mo Ting did not forget how smart Tongning was. He simply felt bad for her intelligence. "Why can't you be a little more stupid? That would make you happier." "If I had a choice, I would still choose to be smarter, because that way, you wouldn't be tired. At least, I can share your burden," Tongning said firmly as she held onto the back of Mo Ting's hand. This incident was most likely done by the siblings. In order to prevent me from returning to the Tang family, they have used all sorts of tricks. If that's the case, I've thought of a good way to help you get back at them. Mo Ting's ink-black eyes suddenly lit up. A sharp glint suddenly appeared in Mo Ting's ink-black eyes. "Of course, since this matter involves Qi, I will deal with him as well." Han Xiner listened to their conversation from the back seat. She was quite envious. They seemed to be telepathically connected. All they needed to do was look at each other, and they could understand each other's thoughts. This wasn't something that just anyone could do. More importantly, between them, it was as if trust was the basis of the conversation without needing to be said. After returning to Hyatt Regency, Mo Ting helped Tongning lie down in bed and get some rest. Afterwards, he gave Feng Yu a phone call. Try and contact Elder Tang. What do you want to do? You will find out soon. After speaking, Mo Ting hung up the phone. Previously, the only reason Tang Xian went to look for Tongning was because Elder Tang had mentioned her. It seemed he wanted Tongning to return to the Tang family. Since that was the case, Elder Tang probably had no idea that Tongning had been plotted against, right? He should have been able to give her a heads up. Chapter 354. West Mountain Courtyard, Maple Leaf Study. The assistant handed the phone to Elder Tang. Chairman, the CEO of Hairui is calling. Do you think? Give it to me. Elder Tang put down the perfume sample, took the phone from his assistant, and gestured for him to leave. The assistant respectfully turned around and left. Afterwards, Elder Tang placed the phone by his ear and said in a deep voice, "Hello." "Hello, Elder Tang." Mo Ting's voice was deep and dangerous. "Are you the man that is dating my granddaughter?" Elder Tang asked straightforwardly. "I am Mo Ting." Mo Ting greeted Elder Tang in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. In terms of presence, they were on par. Although Elder Tang was older and wiser, Mo Ting was calm and unfathomable. The entertainment industry is such a foul place. Where can you find true love? Mo Ting let out a gentle laugh, completely ignoring Elder Tang's contempt. He simply asked, "I sent someone to deliver a gift to your home. I wonder if Elder Tang received it?" "What gift?" "In regards to our marriage, I sent a gift to the royal residence. But after that, a piece of news broke out, saying that I was going to marry Miss Qi." "What do you mean by that?" Elder Tang asked coldly. "The Qi family and Tang family should be on good terms. Plus, I once had a misunderstanding with Miss Qi. If this has caused you to misunderstand me, I can clarify it. There's no need to spread false rumors to hurt Tongning." Mo Ting's voice was even colder than Elder Tang's. "If you can ignore Tongning's existence, then pretend she doesn't exist. Don't stop me from treating her well." Mo Ting's words were very artistic. First, he said that a gift had been delivered and a bad scandal had broken out. Then he hinted that the Qi family and the Tang family were sharing resources. This matter was definitely related to the Tang family. "Kid, don't you know how to respect the elderly and cherish the young?" Elder Tang had never been questioned like this before. "If I've offended you in any way, please forgive me. If you really don't want to acknowledge Tongning as your granddaughter, please hand her over to me in one piece." After speaking, Mo Ting hung up the phone. Elder Tang froze for a moment before calling his assistant over. "Immediately call the Tang family home and ask if Hairui has sent anything over. While you're at it, gather the latest entertainment news for Tongning. Hurry." 10 minutes later, the assistant returned to the study room and said to the old man. The housekeeper said a box was sent over, but it was intercepted by the big Mississippi. "Also, this is the latest news about Miss Tongning." Elder Tang reached out and picked up the newspaper. Looking at the comments the entertainment industry had on his granddaughter, he was so angry that he slammed his hand on the table. How dare these people criticize my, Tang Zhen's granddaughter? Moreover, my granddaughter can do anything. Isn't she better than that vase from the Qi family? Chairman, calm down. Elder Tang took a deep breath and finally calmed himself down. Based on the way that Mo Brat spoke, it seems like the Tang family was behind the rumors of his marriage with the woman from the Qi family. Chairman, could the other party have made a mistake? Grandfather Tang shook his head. That kid is an overlord. How could he make a mistake? Since he said it was the Tang family, then he must have done an in-depth investigation. Plus, can't you tell that he's here to complain? He's hinting that this isn't the first time the Tang family has treated Tongning in this way. The big miss is indeed suspicious, the assistant replied. Tang Xian has no tolerance for others. How can I trust her with the Tang family? That's right. Whether it's in terms of ability or character, Miss Tongning is above all of them, the assistant added. It's time to clean up the family. After speaking, Elder Tang stood up and picked up his walking stick. Come, accompany me to the Tang family home. Chairman, now? Not now. They still haven't realized the seriousness of the matter. After speaking, Elder Tang left the West Mountain Villa with the help of his assistant and headed straight for the Tang family home. After hanging up the phone, Mo Ting returned to the bedroom from the bathroom. Seeing Tong Ning sleeping peacefully in bed, he walked over to her side and leaned over to place a kiss on her forehead. "What's wrong?" Tong Ning asked in a half-asleep state. Mo Ting gently stroked her cheek and comforted her. "It's nothing. I simply wanted to tell you that I will always be by your side." Tong Ning revealed a comforting smile as she fell asleep. Tomorrow was the press release for Hidden Expert. Perfect, it was a good opportunity to clarify everything. Of course, he did not plan to reveal his marriage statement. He still wanted to know if the Tang family and the woman with the surname Qi had any follow-up plans. He was going to clear Tong Ning's path to becoming the empress in one fell swoop. Late at night, the lights in the Tang family home's living room were suddenly turned on. Afterwards, everyone in the Tang family was woken up by Elder Tang. As everyone in the Tang family was busy, they didn't often get to gather together. So the only people that were woken up were Tang Xian and her husband, as well as Father Tang and Tong Ning's mother, the current Madame Tang. "Father, it's already so late. Did you wake everyone up for something?" Father Tang asked as he sat on the sofa. Elder Sheng sat in the middle of the living room, looking extremely dignified. His sharp eyes glanced in Tang Xian's direction. "Xian heir, have you forgotten that you have something to pass to me?" Tang Xian froze for a moment before she suddenly woke up. "Grandfather, do you think that I'm old and dim-sighted, so I can't control you?" Elder Tang tapped his walking stick on the ground. "Are you going to take it out yourself, or do you want me to call Hai Rui to verify it?" Tang Xian's expression did not look good. She had no choice but to retrieve a box from her bedroom and place it in front of Elder Tang. "Can you explain to me what this is?" Elder Tang asked despite knowing the answer. "This is a gift from the CEO of Hai Rui. It seems, he wants to tell us that he and Tong Ning have plans to get married." "In that case, can you tell me what this is?" Elder Tang pulled out a newspaper from his pocket and threw it in front of Tang Xian. "Don't tell me this has nothing to do with you." Tang Xian's body trembled, but she still picked up the newspaper from the floor and opened it. "Grandfather, what's wrong with Xiao Xian?" Tang Xian's husband was confused. Why were the grandfather and granddaughter talking in riddles? Elder Tang stood up with a fierce aura. "This isn't the first time you've hurt Tong Ning like this. Do you admit to it?" "Grandfather, how can you be so sure that I'm the one that hurt Tong Ning? Do you still feel wronged?" Elder Tang's voice turned cold. "I've already spoken to your assistant. You were the one that spread the news. You couldn't bear to see Tong Ning marry a husband with a powerful background, so you tried everything you could to separate them. So you spread this false rumor and made my granddaughter look down on you. The more you act like this, the more impossible it is for the Tang family's perfume to land in your hands." Chapter 355. After speaking, Elder Tang returned to his room with the help of his assistant. Meanwhile, Father Tang looked at Tang Xian in disbelief. "Xian heir, no matter what, Tong Ning is still your sister." "To hell with my sister, who admitted to it." Tang Xian glared at Father Tang before returning to her room with tears in her eyes. "I'll go check on her." Tang Xian's husband followed her back to the bedroom. Father Tang looked at his wife with a guilty expression. All these years, Tong Ning had drifted away from home and he, as a father, couldn't dote on her because he wanted to be fair. Mrs. Tang glanced at Mr. Tang, but didn't say a word before heading upstairs. No matter how much Tong Ning hated her, she was still Tong Ning's mother. Seeing her daughter being humiliated and unable to say a word. Who could understand this feeling? However, Tong Ning had no idea that, without even making an appearance, she had once again ignited a war and panic in the Tang family. The next day at the press conference for Hidden Expert. As a supporting character, Tong Ning was expected to attend. However, due to all the rumors going around, the organizers were extra cautious. The public speculated that Tong Ning and Mo Ting's relationship had broken down, which was why she only received a supporting role in Hidden Expert, and had no chance of getting a role in a major film. Plenty of people were worried for Tong Ning. If Mo Ting ended up marrying someone else, Tong Ning would face more than just being dumped. Perhaps, she would also face revenge from the daughter of a tycoon. After all, no wife could tolerate their husband having a dirty relationship on the outside. Even if it was a business marriage, there was no love involved. 2 p.m. at Crown Plaza Hotel. Tongning wore a black strapless dress as she attended the press conference. But to everyone's surprise, Ting was following behind her. It was Ting who accompanied her here. This wasn't the rumor that their relationship had broken down? On stage, the host was just about to start the press conference as the main cast and crew slowly made their way onto the stage. When it was Tongning's turn, Ting suddenly called out to her and lowered his head. "You can speak freely today." "Ha. Regarding us?" Tongning smiled. Understood. Seeing the two still whispering to each other, the host couldn't help but laugh. It seems President Mo's manager is still worried about leaving Tongning in our hands. She's already about to go on stage, yet she's still reminding us. "Don't worry, we are serious hosts, we won't play any tricks." Ting escorted Tongning onto the stage and returned to his seat as a guest. "Come Tongning, say hello to everyone." After a simple greeting, Tongning stood behind the two male actors. As she was too tall, the host couldn't help but tease her. Luckily, Hidden Expert doesn't have any emotional scenes. Otherwise, it would be troublesome for the two main actors to carry Tongning. The crowd burst into laughter. "By the way, Tongning, I wanted to ask you, what made you choose Hidden Expert?" Tongning took the microphone from the host and said, "Actually, as you all know, I have the most powerful manager in the universe, Mr. Ting." Afterwards, the camera focused on Ting, who was sitting below the stage, causing the entire audience to be excited. "He helped me choose Hidden Expert because he knew what I was lacking and what I liked. Afterwards, when he showed me the story, I immediately fell in love with the little hooligan that I was about to play. A female hooligan disguised as a man." "Wow, it sounds like they're showing off their love." The host laughed nosily. "In that case, does President Mo oversee all of your work? Does he have times where he slacks off?" Tongning glanced below the stage and shook her head. "No, he doesn't. He personally goes through all of my work and evaluates it before reporting to me." "Then isn't President Mo very busy?" The host's eyes grew wide in surprise. "How about this? Let's get President Mo to personally answer this question, okay?" After speaking, the host gestured for the stage manager to hand the microphone to Ting. Ting took it from the manager and said, "Being busy is a normal part of life. But it's enough to prioritize her matters." "Oh God." The host gasped. "President Mo is so considerate. Tongning, you are truly blessed." The host returned his gaze to Tongning. "In that case, has he ever been inconsiderate?" Tongning shook her head without hesitation. "Let me put it this way. Before going to bed, if he is still working, I will simply call out to him, and he will walk in with what I want. Sometimes it will be warm water, sometimes it will be milk, sometimes it will be something else. Anyway, he will always bring out what I want." "Is it really that amazing?" The host was obviously in disbelief. "How about this? To prove that your hearts are connected, let's use Hidden Expert as the topic. You will write down your answer and President Mo will answer it. Is that okay?" Tongning glanced below the stage. Seeing Ting nod his head, she nodded her head as well. "Okay, let's grab the question board. Tongning, after you've written down your answer, seal it up and don't let anyone see it." Okay, now that Tongning has written down her answer, let's ask President Mo why Tongning likes the character of Xiaoxi, the host asked. After hearing this, Ting replied calmly, "Because she can hang from a wire." "Are you sure? If it's not to sharpen her acting skills, is there something else?" "I'm sure." Ting nodded his head. The host looked at Tongning and watched as Tongning revealed the question board. "She can hang from a wire. Have you guys discussed this in private?" "Of course not, soulmate." Hearing the word soulmate, everyone understood why Ting was here. He wanted to dispel the rumors that were going around. He wasn't going to marry anyone, he only had Tongning. "Okay, we're done with the gossip. Let's move on to the film. Let's talk about Hidden Expert." In reality, the biggest star of Hidden Expert did not attend. He was also a weirdo in the industry. He was extremely talented in acting and had won many international awards at a young age. However, he had a strange personality and only appeared in one film every few years. Not only was he a weirdo, his box office earnings were also strange. Whenever he appeared in a film, it would never fail. It could be said that the box office earnings were guaranteed, and he was someone that everyone fought over. But he always chose his films based on his personality. As a result, for Tongning to clinch the role of Xiaoxi, it was more glorious than clinching the first place in a major film. After all, this weirdo wasn't someone that anyone could work with. He knew how to pick the supporting roles. Chapter 356. At the end of the press conference, it was time for fans and the main cast to interact with each other. Of course, at a time like this, it was inevitable that Tongning would be asked the most difficult questions. A chubby woman held onto the microphone and asked worriedly, "Tongning, us fans really want to know how your relationship with President Mo is going. We are extremely worried about you, extremely worried." The host glanced at Mo Ting, and then at Tongning before passing the microphone to her. Tongning held onto the microphone and smiled. "Is President Mo's actions today not enough to reassure you?" But Tongning knew the fans would still suspect they were putting on an act. So, she walked off the stage and pulled Mo Ting onto the stage with her. The fans screamed in excitement. Tongning and Mo Ting intertwined their fingers and replied confidently, "I'm not afraid of being abandoned because he has given me enough confidence. I'm not afraid of rumors either. For us, this is simply another opportunity to show off our love. Wow. Lastly, I hope everyone will pay attention to my upcoming film, Hidden Expert." After speaking, Tongning originally wanted to hand the microphone back to the host. However, Mo Ting grabbed it from her and said to everyone, "I only have Tongning. Anything that doesn't come from my mouth is just a rumor. Whoever I marry is up to me. It's not up to the media to decide, and it's definitely not up to the rumors." Only Tongning's matter could make Mo Ting explain himself like this. Mo and Tang worked together to counter the rumors. "We are doing great. President's courage. I have the final say in who I marry, not the media." This time, the rumors of being dumped were cleared up. The black-bellied President Mo was able to show off his love to the public once again. That night, Tongning returned to the set of Stupid. At this time, the staff no longer looked at her with sympathy. All the guesses and conjectures she had heard were now nothing more than a passing cloud. Not worth mentioning. That night, Qi Xinyan was at home watching the entertainment news. Seeing Mo Ting ignoring her, she felt indignant. Mo Ting's assistant was the one that contacted her on August 19th. Could it be that, as the heiress of a rich family, she couldn't compare to a bare-chested model? After thinking for a moment, Qi Xinyan realized it was indeed unfair, so she took over the stall from Tang Xian's hands. Weren't there reporters blocking the entrance? Weren't there reporters waiting for them? She was going to admit it. She wanted to see how Mo Ting was going to erase the truth. The next day, Qi Xinyan made the news explode. She had personally admitted to the media that on August 19th, she had almost registered her marriage with Mo Ting. As for whether they were a couple in the past, why they wanted to get married and so on, she did not reveal a single thing. This caused the public to think that it was Tongning's appearance that caused Qi Xinyan and Mo Ting's relationship to fall apart. At this time, Tongning was still filming her mourning scenes. This scene was about her giving birth. As the highlight of the last few scenes, Tongning was well prepared, even though she had to lie in a pool of blood and repeat it over and over again. To the point where even the staff began to feel disgusted, she did not complain. To be honest, out of all the actresses I've worked with, Tongning is the least troublesome one. She is never squeamish. She obviously has a pair of delicate legs, yet she dares to appear in any scene. She is truly hardworking. Look at the scene of her giving birth. The pain is so realistic. It makes me feel like I'm having a difficult labor. After Stupid is released, her reputation will definitely skyrocket, right? I really hope she can continue to pursue perfection. She will. After filming, Lin Sheng sat on set and watched Tongning act. He was certain that Tongning's serious expression wasn't just for the sake of acting. She was wholeheartedly focused on doing something right. Shengge, this is the first time you've praised another actress, one of the supporting actors laughed. But Tongning is definitely worth learning from. That's why I was wondering if there's an end to the rumors about Tongning ruining President Mo's marriage. From what I've seen, Tongning's character is definitely not a problem. An actress can pretend for a while, but time will reveal a person's true nature. Anyways, I quite admire Tongning. Lin Sheng laughed and added, so there's no need to care about what the public say. After Tongning finished her scene, she almost fainted. Han Xiner immediately called a doctor to calm her down. Coke was so scared that he almost ran over to Mo Ting and begged for forgiveness. Ningjie, seriously. If boss found out I didn't take good care of you, he would definitely fire me. You are my assistant. It has nothing to do with him. Don't be afraid. Tongning laughed as she sat in her chair. How can you still laugh? There's another piece of news. Tongning received the phone from Han Xiner. After looking at it for a few seconds, she handed it back. You don't need to worry about things like this. Isn't an arrogant heiress like this easy to deal with? So, your boss loves people that ask for trouble. Dealing with them is effortless. After speaking, Tongning stood up and headed for the waiting room. She had to prepare for the next scene. To be honest, Tongning couldn't be bothered to deal with someone of Qi Xinyan's level. Those that were too arrogant usually didn't have any brains. Afterwards, Mo Ting gave Tongning a phone call. Tongning picked up on set without any change in her expression. I thought you would at least be a little jealous. I'm sorry, President Mo. Please clean up the mess you left behind, Tongning said in seriousness. Mo Ting's lips curved upwards as he couldn't help but smile. I thought the Tang family would have a follow-up plan. It seemed the phone call he made to Elder Tang had worked. Since it was just Qi Xinyan, then he was sorry, but he couldn't be bothered to deal with her. Since she was looking for trouble, then he had no choice but to fulfill her wish. Tongning's smile froze on her face. She suddenly felt her heart sink. I never had any intention of returning to the Tang family. But if those people don't know how to restrain themselves, then I won't allow myself to be bullied and bullied. Who would dare to bully you? Mo Ting asked in a deep voice. Tonight, come and warm Mrs. Mo's bed. Today, I was called a mistress, so I'm a little angry. As you wish, Mr. Mo. After speaking, Mo Ting hung up the phone. However, he was already standing not too far away, waving at Tongning. Tongning looked at Mo Ting as he leaned against the car door with a smile on his face. Suddenly, she thought of a phrase, unparalleled. Because of this, Tongning felt that no matter what Mo Ting wanted, she would give it to him. As long as he wanted it, as long as she had it. Chapter 357. Late at night, in the hotel bathroom, Mo Ting hugged Tongning as they lay in the bathtub, affectionately kissing her back. Because of her delivery scene, Tongning had to roll a few times on the ground and her back was slightly bruised. Mo Ting's eyes darkened when he saw the redness. Are you hurt? Where? Tongning couldn't feel any pain. It should be a small injury. Mo Ting placed his chin on her shoulder and said in a low voice beside her ear. From now on, you're not allowed to suffer even a small injury. But I really envy those girls out there. When they get into trouble or get into a fight, their husbands go out to help them. This is the first time I've discovered Mrs. Mo has a violent side to her. Mo Ting stretched out his arms and hugged her even tighter. Okay, if I get the chance in the future, I will definitely fight for you. What do you plan to do about Miss Qi? Tongning leaned back against Mo Ting as she enjoyed the feel of his perfect body. Although her cheeks were red, perhaps it was because she wasn't looking at him directly. She wasn't completely seduced by his body. Do you need me to deal with such a small matter? Hearing Mo Ting's question, Tongning laughed. At least Lu Che did make a phone call. But she has no self-respect. Mo Ting's eyes darkened. She could have been a pure heiress. Yet she insisted on challenging the people of the entertainment industry. Just as she thought, the entertainment industry is full of actors. As long as they want to hurt you, destroy our relationship, I won't let them go. Hearing Mo Ting's vow, Tongning's eyes instantly became dazed. The next day, plenty of people called Hai Rui to verify Qi Xinyan's information. Quite a number of people thought Tongning was the third party, ruining their relationship. However, Hai Rui couldn't be bothered to respond. Of course, Lu Che wasn't around because he was taking Longjia to meet his parents. So, the responsibility of responding fell onto Fang Yu's shoulders. Fang Yu couldn't help but sigh. What was the difference between his promotion and before? It wasn't easy for Hua Jingjing to be home. All he wanted to do was have a meal with his wife, but the reporters were surrounding them. In the end, Fang Yu was so annoyed that he turned to the reporter and said, "I hope Miss Qi can be magnanimous and respect your status as a socialite." Then, Vice President Fang, can you tell us if Miss Qi is President Mo's predecessor? They don't know him. Fang Yu replied straightforwardly. If they don't know each other, how could there be an engagement? If Miss Qi wasn't too sad, she wouldn't have taken the initiative to admit such things. Faced with the intense pressure from the media, Fang Yu straightened his suit and gestured for Hua Jingjing to wait at the hotel. That's just your media's speculation. Can you tell us the truth? The media asked. I'm saving Miss Qi some face. By the way, is it because President Mo has become more benevolent recently? I can't believe the media can spread rumors as they wish. Fang Yu sneered as he turned around to leave the media behind. He then accompanied his wife for dinner. Just what is Qi Xinyan thinking? Hua Jingjing asked as she sat opposite Fang Yu. She couldn't quite understand what had happened. As a socialite, why would she drag herself down with her? As a socialite, not only did she fail to attract President Mo's attention, she even lost to Tongning. In the eyes of a person like her, models and actors are nothing. Did you think she would be willing to lose to Tongning? Fang Yu explained. The Tang family was responsible for pushing her out. But in the end she took over the responsibility from them. On the surface, she appeared to be telling the truth, but in reality, she was slandering Tongning as a mistress. With a brain like this, Tongning and President Mo can't be bothered to do anything about it. That's why our date was delayed, Fang Yu complained. In that case, why didn't you clarify everything just now? Why did you save her face? If it's up to me, you didn't even need to save her face. Hua Jingjing couldn't help but feel unfair for her friend. How could you kill a mouse with a cat's paw? Isn't that why President Mo left the matter to me and not the PR manager? Although she already knew Mo Ting couldn't be provoked, seeing the look in Fang Yu's eyes, Hua Jingjing couldn't help but hug her arms. Thinking about how I provoked President Mo in the past, I'm so scared. Luckily, Fang Yu gently held onto her hand and gave a half smile. Be smarter from now on, okay? The next day, Fang Yu's response quickly reached Qi Xinyan's ears. He was actually telling her to respect herself. Most importantly, Tongning and Mo Ting did not participate in the entire incident. It was like they were watching someone else put on a show. This feeling completely hurt Qi Xinyan's self-esteem. When had she ever been treated like this? In the end, she couldn't help but speak to the media. In the end, she asked Mo Ting, "Are you brave enough to admit that you gave me a phone call on August 19th? Faced with her challenge, Hai Rui did not immediately respond. Meanwhile, Mo Ting remained on set to accompany Tongning for her final 2 scenes. In the end, Hai Rui realized the impact would be too great, so Fang Yu decided to accept an interview. He did it right outside Hai Rui's main entrance. In fact, it wasn't a formal interview. From his expression, it was obvious he didn't care. Vice President Fang, could you? No need to ask, I already know what you want to ask. Fang Yu couldn't be bothered listening to the reporter's nonsense. Fang Yu couldn't be bothered listening to the reporter's nonsense as he said straightforwardly, "Since Miss Qi wants an answer then, we have no choice but to respond." On August 19th, President Mo's assistant, Lu Che, did indeed give Miss Qi a phone call. His motive was to inform her of their marriage. The media was in an uproar as they frantically snapped their shutters. Was Mo Ting going to announce it to the public? Fang Yu observed the expressions on the media's faces and smiled mysteriously. After waiting for them to finish their discussion, he continued. But the entire incident started because the old president was in a rush to have a grandchild and insisted that President Mo bring a granddaughter-in-law home on the same day. So President Mo randomly picked Miss Qi from a bunch of blind dates. He originally wanted to wait for her to arrive and ask her for a favor to avoid the old president's coercion. But who would have thought? Miss Chi didn't even arrive. So, since Tongning is not a mistress and President Mo does not know Miss Chi, the media's wild guesses can stop. At that time, the old president used his illness as a threat and President Mo acted in a hurry. I originally thought Miss Chi didn't arrive because she didn't take it to heart, but it turns out she still remembers. In other words, Chi Xinyan had been thinking too much. That's how it all began. I originally thought there was no need to explain a small matter like this. Who would have thought? It turned out, Mo Ting had randomly picked Chi Xinyan and simply asked her for a favor. No wonder Mo Ting didn't even bother to explain himself. It turned out he had never taken Chi Xinyan seriously. Randomly picked. Originally, they thought it was going to be an exciting love triangle. Who would have thought? Mo Ting had never taken Chi Xinyan seriously. Yet Chi Xinyan took it so seriously. Wasn't this a joke? Chapter 358. Not only was it a joke, it was the biggest joke in the world. Let me clarify once again. President Mo does not know Miss Chi. He has only met her once at Chanel's celebration dinner, and has no intention of taking things any further. President Mo and Tongning have a great relationship. Please don't judge other people's feelings with the eyes of the world. This is Hai Rui's last statement. If the media continues to spread rumors, I'm sorry, but don't blame Hai Rui for being merciless. After speaking, Feng Yu turned around and returned to Hai Rui in high spirits. The remaining reporters immediately packed their things. They had another article to write about. It turned out, it was all because of a socialite throwing herself at Mo Ting. The internet quickly spread the news of Chi Xinyan throwing herself at Mo Ting. Thinking about it, I feel embarrassed for her. It turns out, she actually thought Mo Ting wanted to marry her. Miss Chi has reached a new level of narcissism. Haven't you guys noticed? With Mo Ting's black-bellied ruthlessness, only someone with Tongning's EQ could match up to him. A socialite like this can't even be bothered to entertain her. Is that why Hai Rui sent Feng Yu? Wrong. Didn't you guys notice that Feng Yu also had an impatient look on his face? Hey, this face slap feels good. Haha. Did she really think she could do whatever she wanted just because she had money? Wrong again. Tongning's family background is quite scary. It's just that she has never relied on them. The newspapers had written that Chi Xinyan had no sense of shame, and that she was throwing herself at Mo Ting. So, Father Chi was unhappy. Although he rarely got angry at Chi Xinyan, this time, Chi Xinyan was the one who threw herself at him. He had eyes and saw everything clearly. Don't you feel embarrassed? Father Chi questioned Chi Xinyan with his hands behind his back in the study room. Chi Xinyan's face turned red as she averted her gaze. You might not be embarrassed, but I've been completely embarrassed by you. What do you think? No matter where I go, I have to put up with people looking at me strangely. Because of this joke, our business partners have decided that we are not trustworthy enough, so they canceled their original plans. What are you trying to do? Why did you provoke Hai Rui? Do you think you can fight against the Tang family? Tongning, she obviously has 4 siblings, yet grandfather Tang only loves her. How can you compare to her when it comes to scheming? Father Chi was so angry that his entire body was trembling. From today onwards, you're not allowed to go out for a month. Stay at home and reflect on yourself. But, no buts. It doesn't matter if you don't attend one of those socialite gatherings. After speaking, Father Chi waved his hand at Chi Xinyan. Go get some rest. When Chi Xinyan heard about the cancellation of the Chi family's collaboration, she realized how serious the situation was. Not to mention a month, based on how the outside world ridiculed her. She wouldn't even be willing to go out for half a year. How shameful. She originally thought Mo Ting wouldn't be able to explain himself to the public. After all, it had happened in the past. Who would have thought? He was in the entertainment industry, and was the overlord of the entertainment industry. If he couldn't even make up for this, could he still be called the emperor of the entertainment industry? What a joke. What a complete joke. The set of Stupid, originally had scenes scheduled in the afternoon, but because of the storm, Tongning was forced to stay in the hotel. After seeing Feng Yu's response that morning, Han Xiner sat on the edge of the bed and laughed happily. Tongning put down her script and glanced at her as she shook her head. Is it really that funny? Don't you think it's funny? Han Xiner sat up and placed one hand on her hip. No wonder boss can't be bothered to make an appearance and Fang Yu doesn't seem to care. They are both very capable people. Tongning replied straightforwardly. That's why I say PR is so interesting. Every time we successfully turn the tables around, the excitement and sense of achievement is definitely great. Tongning lifted her head and looked at Han Xiner. Just like Emoting had said, she enjoyed excitement and challenges. In that case, when Long Jie returns, you can officially join Hai Rui's PR department. If you can become Fang Yu's direct disciple, I'm sure you will quickly surpass your teacher. Han Xiner's eyes were filled with excitement. She did not hide her emotions. Okay, I will do my best. After speaking, Han Xiner continued to browse through the comments online. However, as she browsed through them, her expression changed. Ningjia. Because of Qi Xinyan's incident, people have started to dig into the Tang family's background. With the mention of the Tang family, Tongning slightly hid her smile. Han Xiner knew this was Tongning's weakness, so she wanted to change the subject, but Tongning stopped her. Hand me the phone. You should leave this matter to boss. Give it to me. Han Xiner hesitated as she handed over the phone. Meanwhile, Tongning looked through the netizens' information. Not only did the netizens find out that Tongning was born into a perfume family and had a high status, they also found photos of the entire Tang family. Even Elder Tang wasn't spared. In reality, Tongning had never hidden her identity. It was just that no one had ever been so passionate about it before. This time, it was all because of Qi Xinyan's incident. The netizens felt that she was in no way inferior to Qi Xinyan, so they decided to post photos of the Tang family. I know you don't like to have anything to do with the Tang family, but if the netizens are like this, the Tang family will definitely be affected. My birth is not something I can decide. I may have experienced ups and downs in the entertainment industry, but I have relied on myself to earn money. I have a clear conscience, so you don't need to care about me. Tongning handed back the phone with a dark expression. Han Xiner sighed helplessly. In reality, the Han family was more or less responsible for this incident. If Tongning hadn't insisted on being with Han Yufan, Elder Tang wouldn't have kicked her out of the Tang family. Ningjia. Don't be sad. Tongning looked at Han Xiner and gave her a hollow smile. However, that evening, Tongning received a phone call from Tang Xian. Her voice was trembling. Have you not embarrassed the Qi family enough? Do you want everyone in the Tang family to be dragged down by you and be compared to a bunch of nobodies? You were born into a bad family, so you can go down on your own. Don't drag your family down with you and embarrass themselves. The Tang family only want to appear on financial magazines. We don't want to appear on the entertainment headlines. Tongning did not say a word as she allowed Tang Xian to criticize her. After a while, she finally asked, Have you said enough? Would you believe that I can make you appear on the entertainment headlines for an entire month? Tang Xian. I know how to deal with this incident. It has nothing to do with the Tang family. Whether I'm famous or ruined, it's all my business. I've never wanted to share it with the Tang family. Tang Xian, stop calling my phone, I'm getting annoyed. Really? Don't you have any self-awareness? Chapter 359. Before Tang Xian could respond, Tongning hung up the phone. As she put down the phone, her eyes darkened. It was not her wish to be born into the Tang family. She had already punished herself for so many years. Was it not enough? How far did the Tang family want to push her? Ningjia. I'm fine. Tongning looked at Han Xiner and revealed a reassuring smile. The rain outside made Tongning's mood a little heavy. But after thinking about emoting, Tongning's heart slowly calmed down. In fact, she felt an inexplicable warmth. Once upon a time, in order to hide from the Tang family and take care of Han Yufan, she was willing to give up her beloved career and retreat behind the scenes to be a good wife and loving mother. But now, she felt, only by standing in the most dazzling position would she be able to match up to emoting. Therefore, she would not retreat for the sake of the Tang family. Ningjia, someone's knocking on the door. I think it's boss. I'll go open the door. Yes. Tongning smiled at Han Xiner. However, to her surprise, the person holding a black umbrella at the door turned out to be Elder Tang's assistant. Miss Tongning, the chairman wants to see you. He is waiting in the car downstairs. Tongning glanced at Han Xiner. Although her emotions were complicated, she couldn't find a reason to reject Elder Tang. Not to mention, they were already downstairs. Tongning gestured for Han Xiner not to follow. She then mouthed to her to give Mo Ting a phone call. Han Xiner nodded her head. After Tongning left, she pulled out her phone and dialed Mo Ting's number. Hey boss, the Tang family are here to look for Ningjia. Mo Ting was already on his way to the set. As soon as he heard Han Xiner's anxious words, he immediately sped up. Downstairs, the assistant held up an umbrella as he led Tongning to a black car parked under a tree. Through the car window, Tongning looked at the old man sitting inside and couldn't help but sigh. She couldn't remember if it was 4 or 5 years since she last saw her grandfather. Miss Tongning, please get in. The assistant opened the car door. Tongning hesitated for a moment before finally getting into the car. She didn't even have time to change out of her costume. Elder Tang sat upright in the car with a righteous aura. He turned his head to look at Tongning and couldn't help but scoff. Is this how you act now? Grandpa, are you here for the newspaper? If it is, I will think of a way to deal with it. There is no need for you to personally make a trip here. Humph. Elder Mo scoffed. You sure have a backbone. It's been 9 years. Don't you miss your mother and grandfather at all? Since you have the courage to leave home, why can't you bear the scorn and supercilious looks of those people? You're overthinking things. The only reason I left the Tang family was because I wanted to enter the entertainment industry, Tongning denied. Perfume is not my interest. But you have talent. Tongning calmed down and did not say another word. However, the atmosphere in the car suddenly froze like ice. It was suffocating. If you want me to forgive you, I can. You have to cut all ties with the entertainment industry and break up with that Mo brat. Then you have to return to the Tang family. Tongning pondered for a moment, then replied, I'm fine now. What's so great about you now? Every day, you're trampled by those shady people. Can't Grandpa give you the glory you want? I can't. Tongning replied straightforwardly. Every day that I return to the Tang family, I can't eat or sleep in peace. I can't use a single cent of the Tang family's money, because I feel like it was stolen. I would really break down. Grandpa, can't you just give me my freedom? Has the Tang family been so humiliated by you? Elder Mo's face was filled with anger. So much so that you don't even want to stay a second longer? Yes. What did the brat from the Mo family give you? He gave me everything that I'm missing. These are things that you can't give me. Tongning choked on her tears. What is it that I can't give you? Dignity. Tongning laughed in self-ridicule. Grandpa, you will never disregard the rest of the Tang family for my sake. Do you think you don't have dignity because you were born into the Tang family? Elder Mo's eyes were filled with shock as his hands began to tremble. You know very well whether I have dignity or not. Why ask me so directly? Do what you want. If one day you want to return to the Tang family, you will need to cut all ties with the entertainment industry. I will not acknowledge a grandson-in-law from the entertainment industry, no matter how capable he is. Elder Mo was helpless against Tongning. Apart from talent, the grandfather and granddaughter were the most similar in terms of stubbornness. In that case, I will never have a place in the Tang family. Tongning, a few years ago, you suffered so much for the sake of Han Yufan. You were even kicked out of the Tang family. What happened in the end? Elder Mo's eyes turned red. This time, you did it for a man again. He is different. What if I insist that you give up on him? I can't do it. Even if I die, I won't do it. I can give up on anything, but Mo Ting is the only one I have. No one can take him away from me, not even grandfather. As Tongning spoke the last sentence, her tone was firm and she spoke quickly. She did not give Elder Tang a chance to interrupt. After quite some time, Elder Mo finally found his voice. What if you had to choose one of us? I don't want the empty Tang family. I only want him. Obviously, the grandfather and grandson were destined to part on bad terms. Actually, it had nothing to do with anything else. It was just that they had different standpoints. The old man doted on her, But his doting was conditional. Naturally, Tongning was kicked out of the car. Afterwards, the black car drove off. As soon as Tongning turned around, she saw Emoting patiently waiting for her with an umbrella in his hand. Tongning's tears immediately rolled down her face. At this time, Emoting removed his jacket and pulled her into his embrace, hugging her tightly. It's okay. It's okay, you have me. Tongning hugged Emoting tightly. Until the moment she had to make a choice, she would never have realized how much Emoting meant to her. Ting. Do you know how important you are to me? Tongning asked in the rain. I know. But you need to remember, I will always love you more than you love me. Tongning buried her head in Emoting's embrace as her tears landed on his sweater. The couple stood in the rain for quite some time before Emoting wrapped his arm around her and said, Let's go back to the hotel. Tell me everything your grandfather told you without leaving out a single word. Okay, Tongning nodded her head. Emoting wrapped his arm around Tongning as they returned to the hotel. His heart was in turmoil. Who was the old man trying to bully? Even if it was a member of the Tang family or an elder, as long as Tongning was unhappy, he wouldn't let it go so easily. Chapter 360. 10 p.m. The storm suddenly stopped. Tongning had already calmed down thanks to Emoting's comforting words. The couple hugged each other to sleep as they held each other's cheeks. I've already asked Coke to postpone tonight's shoot. Get some sleep. Tongning snuggled into Emoting's embrace and pressed against his chest. No need, I'm just going to sleep for half an hour. I want to get up and film. Okay, if you want to sleep, I'll hug you. If you want to film, I'll accompany you. Emoting did not force Tongning to rest. He simply allowed her to do as she pleased. After listening to Elder Tang and Tongning's conversation, Emoting suddenly realized that Tongning must have experienced a lot of pain and hardship during her childhood. The Tang family ostracized and made things difficult for her, Elder Tang's control, and her own guilt and pain. These were all things that made his heart ache when he thought about them. So, an hour later the night scene began. Late at night, as soon as Elder Tang returned home, his assistant immediately called for the family doctor, attracting the attention of the rest of the Tang family. Tang Xian followed him around anxiously. It was not until Elder Tang had stabilized that she asked her assistant, Where did grandfather go? Why did he suddenly relapse? That. The assistant was in a difficult position. What else can't you say? Grandfather is already in this state. Tang Xian was extremely anxious. The chairman went to see Tongning. The assistant replied honestly. After hearing this, Tang Xian was stunned. Did you say grandfather went to see Tongning? Grandfather said he won't see Tongning again. We are both granddaughters. How could he not see her? The chairman was simply saying it out of anger. Tang Xian handed the medicine and water to her assistant, and turned around to return to her room without looking back. She had already endured so much, but why did Tongning still refuse to leave the Tang family home? She knew deep down that Elder Tang had always had Tongning as his successor. But unfortunately, Tongning was the child of a mistress. So, anyone could do it except her. Grandfather, you forced me to do this. Tang Xian clenched her fists tightly. She couldn't help but want Tongning to stay away from the Tang family home. Scene 181, third scene. Action. This scene was a scene between Tongning and the athlete. When it came to child rearing, the athlete was completely caught off guard. On the muddy road after the rain, Tongning carried her child in her arms. Her body was extremely weak. However, as soon as the athlete saw her, not only did he refuse to acknowledge her, he refused to acknowledge her child either. In front of the camera, Tongning carried the child in her arms and revealed a contemptuous smile. She looked at the back of the athlete and said, My child is a genius. If you don't raise him, you will regret it. Crazy woman, I'm an athlete. I can't have children. I still want to win awards and be a champion. Tongning stared at the back of the man who didn't even look back. She struggled a few times as her body swayed. He really is a genius. Her murmurs could be heard in the night sky. Pass. Coke yelled as he stood up. He had been staying in Beijing for quite some time recently, so he had picked up quite a few local phrases. As a result, he didn't sound awkward at all. Translator. Editor. The scene was over. Before Tongning could return to her senses, Mo Ting had already walked over to her side and wrapped her in a jacket. Mrs. Mo, the scene ended. There are only 2 more scenes left. It will be over by tomorrow, right? Tongning sighed. I suddenly feel a little reluctant. Filming will be over by tomorrow. Mo Ting said as he carried her out of the set. It's getting late. Let's go back to the hotel and get some rest. We have an early scene tomorrow. Tomorrow. Do you still remember what you promised me? Of course I do. Tongning turned her head and looked at Mo Ting. He also looked tired. He was a high and mighty CEO, yet because of her, he had to stay by her side, regardless of the weather. He had to worry about her constantly. She suddenly felt a little sad, especially when she thought about the words Mo Ting had said to her that night. Did he really love her more than she loved him? Mo Ting had already prepared the script to announce their wedding. He had been waiting for this day and this moment. However, there was one piece of news that was announced before Mo Ting's wedding. It was breaking news. Rich family drama. Tongning is confirmed to be an illegitimate daughter. Tongning's background is a mystery. Could the heiress of the Tang family be fake? So she's the daughter of a mistress. Tongning's identity has been revealed. The next morning, Han Xiner directly knocked on Tongning's door and handed her the news. At this time, Hai Rui had already begun their PR. As long as Tongning's identity was mentioned, it would be blocked. Even so, news of Tongning's identity still began to spread throughout the industry. Rich families are indeed corrupt. They are too reckless. This isn't a big news. What's there to expose? Tongning is the daughter of a mistress. Will she also be someone else's mistress? If this was in the past, Tongning would simply scoff at news like this. After all, she didn't know the person that had hurt her, so there was no need to get angry over a stranger. However, this time around, this piece of news could only be spread by the people of the Tang family. After all, only the people of the Tang family knew about it. Ningjia. Seeing Tongning being wronged, Han Xiner wanted to comfort her, but Tongning grabbed onto her wrist and said, "Don't tell Mo Ting. He just left. Hai Rui still has a lot of work to do." Actually, boss just gave me a phone call and told me not to tell you about this in case you feel bad. It's fine. It's the truth anyway. It's not a bad thing for it to be exposed. But, will it affect the Mo family's opinion of you? Han Xiner was worried about this. Help me prepare my car. I need to return to the Tang family home, Tongning said firmly. There were some things that she needed to resolve. Allowing Tang Xian to bully her like this was something she would have done in the past. But now no one could hurt her. Because hurting her was equivalent to hurting Mo Ting. Should I let boss know? Of course. But I need to head over first. I can't sit still here for even a second. Okay, you go first. Here are the car keys. Hurry and leave before the media arrive, Han Xiner said as she protected Tongning. Tongning left the hotel. As Han Xiner watched Tongning leave, she suddenly felt that life was difficult. For example, in the Han family, her older brother was greedy and her older sister was evil. As for Tongning, she was forced into this state by her own family. How much hatred did she have for her to pull out a knife against her own family? Tongning actually understood why Tang Xian did this. It was because she knew her grandfather had spoken to her. Was she so afraid that she would take over the Tang family? Was she willing to expose the Tang family's dirty laundry? Tongning sped down the road. However, halfway there, she received a phone call from Mo Ting. Slow down. Tongning immediately slowed down. Ning, you head over first. I'm on my way to pick you up. After all, today's the wedding announcement. Perfect timing. Chapter 361. It was a sunny morning at the Tang family home. On the luxurious steps of the living room, Elder Tang stood straight with his walking stick in his black suit. His gaze swept coldly across the 2 rows of children standing below. With the family scandal exposed, Tang Xian was punished to kneel. Father Tang and Mother Tang stood on the right side of Elder Tang while the Tang siblings stood on the other side. Apart from Tang Xian, Tang Yichen and Tang Jingxian were also called over by Elder Tang. As for Tang Ning, she was the third child. Today, I want to make a very difficult decision. I want to kick my other granddaughter out of the Tang family home. Elder Tang said in a deep voice. Do you have any objections? Father. Father Tang cried out in shock. You have the least right to speak here. You were the one that caused all of this. Elder Tang blocked Father Tang's path. Grandfather, I can't accept this. Tang Xian said as she stood up. Because of Tongning, you are actually going to kick your own granddaughter out? Tongning is also my granddaughter. Plus, it seems, you still haven't realized your mistake. In order to vent your anger, you exposed the family scandal that the Tang family has been hiding for over 10 years. You have caused the entire Tang family to lose its peace. I cannot tolerate you. Elder Tang said in a stern voice. How is she your granddaughter? She must be a bastard that came out of nowhere. Slap. Elder Tang rarely hit people, but this time, he actually hit her. The old man's hand was still as powerful as ever as he flung Tang Xian's face to the side. I, Tang Xian, will make things clear to you today. Tang Xian, with your temper and character, don't even think about taking over the Tang family. Tang Xian's eyes grew wide as she felt the same. However, at this time, the housekeeper entered the living room and said to Elder Tang, Chairman, the third miss has returned. How could she have the face to return? Tang Xian screamed. Let her in. Elder Tang said as he stomped his walking stick on the ground. It had been 9 years. The number of times Tongning had stepped foot into the Tang family home could be counted on one hand. Her memories of living under this roof had always been filled with subservience. But this time, she no longer lowered her head. Dressed in a brown trench coat, and with her long hair draped over her shoulders, she coldly entered the living room. Everyone felt that she was different, whether it was her temperament or her demeanor. She was completely different from the Tongning that would avoid everything. Tongning walked over to the kneeling Tang Xian in her high heels. She first bowed to Elder Tang and called him grandfather before turning around to greet Father Tang and Mother Tang. No one knew why she was here, but she had completely forgotten that this was her home. Xiaoning, it's good that you're back, Father Tang said lovingly. Tongning did not look at Father Tang's expression. She simply turned to Elder Tang and said in a cold voice, Grandfather, I want to settle my personal grudge with Tang Xian. I hope none of you will get involved. Xiaoning, we are sisters. All right. Elder Tang glanced at Tongning and interrupted Father Tang. He wanted to know what Tongning had experienced over the past 9 years. So he asked his assistant to help him sit down as Tongning turned to face Tang Xian. Just as no one expected this, they heard another loud slap. Tongning had actually hit Tang Xian. Hit Tang Xian. Everyone was shocked. Tang Xian was even more furious. She covered her cheek and shouted, You hit me? Yes, I hit you. Tongning said with her head held high. This slap is for me to get back at you for all the years I've put up with you. You. Do you want to know why grandfather values me and not you? It's because I am better than you in every way. When we were young, your grades weren't as good as mine, and you couldn't win over the elders like me. When we grew up, even if I left the Tang family, you would still be no match for me. Even if all I have is my name, it will always be a thorn in your heart. Since it is a thorn, then let it remain as it is. Making you mad is exactly what I want. But Tang Xian, remember, it is a fact that I am more capable than you. All these years I've been away from home, the fact that I've never stepped foot into the Tang family has already shown my attitude. But, you are not sensible at all. I can't handle being forced. If you continue to be unscrupulous, I'm sorry, but when my patience reaches its limit, it will be time for me to return to the Tang family. I don't need to ask for your opinion. Today, I am simply giving you a warning. If you continue to provoke me, then you can forget about being the big miss of the Tang family. As Tongning said these words, her eyes were filled with a cold light that made people tremble in fear and tremble in fear. Even though her aura wasn't as dangerous as Mo Ting's. No one doubted that she was joking when she said it. Her expression was telling everyone that she was serious. Seeing Tang Xian in a daze, Tongning turned to face Elder Tang and bowed. She then said in a low voice, Grandfather, don't worry, I will deal with the scandal. I'm sorry for disturbing you today. After speaking, Tongning turned to leave. But Elder Tang held her back. If you still admit that you are a part of the Tang family, then don't step out of this house today. Grandfather, don't force me. I've already made my stance clear last night. If you step out of this house today, you will be the same as Tang Xian. You will no longer be a part of the Tang family, Elder Tang scoffed. Tang Xian may have done something wrong, but if you show your face in public, you will not be forgiven. I've never embarrassed the Tang family. Are you referring to your scandals and the world's longest legs award? Elder Tang narrowed his eyes. In my eyes, they are nothing but embarrassing. There's nothing I can do about it. After speaking, Tongning continued to walk away. But Elder Tang continued. Are you really going to abandon your parents and family? Just because of your hobbies and dreams? Xiaoning, stay here. Mom and Dad miss you, Father Tang persuaded. Tongning shook her head. However, just as Tongning was about to walk away for the third time, Mother Tang suddenly spoke. Her voice was raspy. I know that this is all because of me. Tongning did not turn around. I know that deep down, Tongning would rather not have me as her mother because I have caused her to be shamed for the rest of her life. Madam, don't cause trouble. Father Tang immediately tried to comfort her. Actually, the solution to all of this is very simple. As long as I'm not around, everything will be fine, right? Madam, what nonsense are you saying? That's enough, stop talking. Tongning won't be going anywhere today. She can only stay here. I will get someone to deal with the rumors that are spreading, Elder Tang interjected. As for Tang Xian, this is the last time. If I find out that you are doing something similar again, don't blame me for being ruthless. Sorry, grandfather, I still need to film. Chapter 362. What film? You are not allowed to step out of the Tang family home today. Elder Tang gestured for his assistant to close the front door. Tongning, it's time for you to calm down. It's time to cut off those shady relationships. Tongning watched as the front door was closed, but she did not panic. She simply turned around and said to Elder Tang, Grandfather, you can't lock me up. Elder Tang stared at Tongning. Deep down, he was well aware that Tongning was no longer the child that she used to be. Her willpower was stronger than before. But on the surface he still had to say, I will lock you up for as long as I can. Tang Xian was still kneeling on the floor sobbing as she sneered. Seeing that Elder Tang's motive was to force Tongning to return home, she stood up and gave him a strange smile. Grandfather, have you made up your mind to force Tongning to return home? This has always been her home. A little bitch? What right does she have? After speaking, Tang Xian pounced on the table, grabbed the fruit knife from the fruit platter and placed it on her wrist. What if I say, I won't be here with her? Tang Xian. Elder Tang panicked as he almost lost his grip on his walking stick. What are you doing? Grandfather, I'm serious. In this home, I won't be here with her, and she won't be here with me. After speaking, Tang Xian bit her lip as a bloody cut appeared on her wrist. Don't do anything stupid. Elder Tang immediately pounced over and grabbed onto Tang Xian's wrist. He then said to his assistant, Aren't you going to get the first aid kit? Seeing that Elder Tang doted on her the most, Tang Xian pounced into his embrace and cried, Grandfather, isn't this a good thing? Why must an outsider return home? Since Tongning was able to leave for 9 years, it means she has never treated the Tang family home. Why must we make things difficult for each other? If you have something to say, then say it. Why are you doing something stupid? Elder Tang was so angry that he almost lost control. Grandfather, promise me that you won't let Tongning come back. Promise me first. Seeing that Tang Xian was about to go to extremes, Elder Tang had no choice but to agree. Okay, I promise. I promise. Hearing the words I promise you, Tongning felt the only warmth in her heart dissipate. Xiaoning, leave first. Father will come and pick you up another day, Father Tang pleaded. Pick me up? There's no need. Keep an eye on your daughter. From today onwards, I, Tongning, have cut all ties with the Tang family. Also from this moment onwards, if Tang Xian dares to offend me again, I will make her wish she was dead. After speaking, Tongning took a few steps back. Just as she was about to leave, the housekeeper once again rushed into the room and said to Elder Tang, Elder Tang, don't worry. Tang Xian. Elder Xian said angrily. I'm not, Elder Tang. Let him in. Tongning refuted. Tongning. Tongning, there are no outsiders here. If anyone tries to stop him from coming in, I'll just run into a pillar. What do you think, Grandpa? Tongning said as she pointed to the Roman pillar on the left. Xian Tang emo to Tang. Tang Tang. The housekeeper understood Elder Tang's intention and immediately led Mo Ting into the house. However, Mo Ting did not come alone. He brought 20 bodyguards with him as they entered the living room. President Mo, don't you think you've gone overboard with your display? Elder Tang once again put on his solemn mask and sneered at Mo Ting. Mo Ting ignored Elder Tang as he waved at Tongning. Tongning's tears were about to fall, but as she approached Mo Ting, she buried her face in his chest and said in a hoarse voice, Hubby, take me away from here. Okay, I'll handle it. Mo Ting stretched out his hand and stroked Tongning's hair as he gently placed a kiss on her forehead. Is it arrogant? But I don't think it's enough. After all, when the Mo family makes a move, they always do it this way. Mo Ting replied calmly. This is the Tang family home, not the Mo family home. But, the Tang family is bullying the Mo family. Mo Ting's voice was similarly dangerous and dark. The sharpness in his eyes was no less than Elder Tang's. Tongning is my granddaughter. When did she become a part of the Mo family? Mo Ting couldn't be bothered to waste time with him as he pulled out his marriage certificate with Tongning from his pocket. I am Tongning's legal husband. Elder Tang, do you think she is a part of the Mo family? Elder Tang. If possible, I wish the Tang family had never given birth to Tongning. For a family like you to act like this, I feel ashamed. Since Tongning is my wife, she doesn't need a single cent from the Tang family. The Mo family is enough to guarantee her 10 lifetimes of glory. Return to the Tang family home? From now on, you will have to kneel before me. From today onwards, I will be taking Tongning with me. She will no longer have anything to do with the Tang family. If anyone wants to bully her, they will have to get past me first. After speaking, Mo Ting turned around with Tongning in his arms. At this time, the Tang family subconsciously tried to stop them. But the people that President Mo brought with him were not to be trifled with. They were all experienced fighters. In the end, under Mo Ting's dangerous and bloodthirsty gaze, the Tang family servants watched helplessly as Mo Ting flicked his coat and led Tongning out of the Tang household. Elder Tang trembled in anger, but he was powerless to stop them. He was well aware of one fact. Today's meeting had created an insurmountable gap between him and Tongning. Xiaoning. When did you get married? We didn't even know about it, Father Tang mumbled in shock. She even married into the Mo family. Mother Tang had long lost her patience. She simply sneered. Only now do I realize in Elder Tang's heart, Tongning and I are worse than animals. It's good that she got married. She married Mo Ting and married into the Mo family. She has a better future than her mother. From now on, she no longer needs to be looked down upon. Madam, what are you talking about? Father Tang grabbed onto Mother Tang's shoulder. Stop causing trouble. She married into the Mo family. In other words, a certain someone's husband can't be compared to her. She has finally helped her mother vent her anger. After laughing, Mother Tang pushed Father Tang away and returned to her bedroom. After so many years, this was the first time she felt like she could hold her head up high in front of the Tang family. At the same time, the other members of the Tang family were also shocked. Tang Xian was naturally angrier. Tang Yichen did not want to get involved in a family argument. Meanwhile, Tang Jingxian watched as Mo Ting left with a glint in his eyes. Sister 2, isn't that the CEO of Hai Rui? Isn't he? Jingxian, what do you want this time? I want to release an album. If you aren't afraid of grandfather breaking your legs. But Mo Ting is now my brother-in-law. Tang Jingxian exclaimed excitedly. Chapter 363. If you want to cry, then cry it out. On the way home, Emoting looked at Tongning, who was leaning on his shoulder as he drove. I was the one who arrived too late and made you suffer. Tongning couldn't help but cry. It was obvious that she was trying to hold it in. I ran off on my own. What has it got to do with you? Why do you have to take responsibility for everything? It's all my fault that I didn't protect you, Emoting said with self-blame. From now on, you are my wife, not someone else's granddaughter. Furthermore, you have nothing to do with that family. Okay, Tongning nodded her head, but she still couldn't help but cry. The pain of a family member was the most helpless and difficult to heal. She had no choice. Don't cry. You're making my heart ache. Tongning couldn't cry, but she also couldn't not cry. So she sat up straight and calmed herself down. Drive me to the set. We agreed to finish filming today. I don't want to delay the progress of the entire production, because of my personal reasons. Okay, as long as it's something you want to do, I will accompany you. He had said this before. The simplest way to love someone was to accompany them. The news of the illegitimate daughter was still spreading. But under Emoting's protection, Tongning directly arrived at the set of Stupid. The crew looked at Tongning worriedly, including Lin Sheng. Even though he didn't have any scenes to film today, he was waiting on set for Tongning. He planned to celebrate the completion of her first scene with her. A good actor, no matter what difficulties they encounter, must stand firm in front of the camera. I am very happy to see you appear, Lin Sheng patted Tongning on the shoulder. Go ahead and finish your last 2 scenes. Tongning nodded her head and wiped away her tears. She looked at her colleagues and revealed a comforting smile. Don't worry, I'm fine. Okay. Lin Sheng watched as Tongning walked onto set. He finally had a plan in mind. He had always been bad-mouthing people, and had never praised anyone seriously. Yet a newcomer like Tongning actually made him feel this way. Tongning could be considered as his disciple, right? The last 2 scenes of Stupid took a long time to complete. It was the female lead going crazy and searching for her child. My child is a genius. He is a genius. Have you guys seen my child? He really is a genius. Anxious and panicked, the actress grabbed the passers-by's hand, eager to convince them. However, all she got was the coldness of the passers-by. Hey, this woman seems to be an actress, right? No way, it's probably a crazy woman who kidnapped her child. The actress lived a proud and flamboyant life, but in the end, it had such an ending. It was a pity. However, the story continued. The genius that the actress kept mentioning was the main theme of Stupid. Because of the last 2 scenes, Tongning was distracted and no longer focused on being angry at the Tang family. But just because she wasn't angry didn't mean Emoting wasn't either. Congratulations, Tongning, on completing your scenes. Congratulations on the resurrection of our actress. Congratulations. Good luck. Everyone in the crew surrounded her, giving her flowers and hugs. Tongning, you are amazing. Coke also gave him a hug. You really are what you said, you are a genius. Thank you, Director Coke. You have made me a success. Tongning thanked him politely. Enjoy your life as an actor. I also wish you an outstanding performance in Hidden Expert. You have a high chance of winning the Best Newcomer award this year. Tongning had never considered whether she would win an award or not. She simply wanted to fulfill Emoting's wish, and now, she had finally accomplished it. You guys should stop clinging to Tongning. What she wants the most is President Mo's blessing. Someone saw Emoting appear with flowers in his arms and pushed Tongning out of the crowd. Tongning watched as the handsome man slowly approached her. She also took a step forward. I did it. Emoting handed her the roses. I know. Afterwards, in front of everyone, he hooked his arm around her neck and kissed her on the lips. Everyone on set cheered as Tongning slowly recovered from her initial shock and began to respond to her man's demands. It wasn't until everyone's faces turned red that Emoting finally let go of her. Mrs. Mo, congratulations on completing your scenes. President Mo. For you to bring a bouquet of roses on a special day like this. Does he have something good to announce? Everyone guessed that Emoting was planning to propose today. However, Tongning simply smiled without saying a word. This seemed to be the first time she had received flowers from Emoting. Of course, She was well aware why it was a bouquet of roses. What kind of good news do you guys want? Mo Ting asked in a rare moment of excitement. Propose. 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 Everyone encouraged the two of them in unison. However, Mo Ting directly pulled out his marriage certificate and said, "We've been married for a long time." After all, the purpose of his marriage certificate was to announce his identity. So Mo Ting didn't mind showing it a few more times. Everyone was shocked. Who would have thought? The couple had been married for a long time. Oh God, Tongning, you sure kept it a secret. I can't believe you actually managed to convince our president Mo. Well done. Luckily, I'm not one to bully newcomers. Otherwise, if I offended the madam, I wouldn't even know how I died. Aha, at least you know what's good for you. There are still a lot of rumors going around saying that President Mo will never marry Tongning. The media should be slapped in the face. The media. Mo Ting's expression turned serious. That's right, he had already announced his identity in front of the Tang family, yet he still had to deal with the media. He had already announced his identity in front of the Tang family, but he had yet to announce it to the world. Coke, I'm taking Tongning with me. I'll pay for everyone's meal today. Yay. The entire crew erupted in applause. After all, this was the only time in their lives that they would be able to eat a meal that Mo Ting paid for. Afterwards, Mo Ting turned to leave with Tongning. However, Tongning asked him to wait as she walked over to Lin Sheng. Thank you, Xingge. You have done me a great favor. You're too kind. I will continue to monitor your acting. Don't embarrass me, Lin Sheng laughed. Definitely. I will show you a different Tongning in Hidden Expert. That's good. You and President Mo should also take good care of each other. In this flashy industry, to be able to find true love that you can protect, you should cherish it even more. I know. Tongning shook Lin Sheng's hand before reluctantly leaving the first film in her life. From now on, she was going to welcome her identity as Mrs. Mo in her best form. Chapter 364. Afternoon. Tang family home. Tang Xian's extreme behavior made Elder Tang realize the truth. Tang Xian could not tolerate Tongning's existence. But who was he going to rely on to inherit the Tang family? After fainting, Tang Xian woke up to find Elder Tang sitting on the edge of the bed. She struggled to sit up and said, "Grandfather. I dreamed of my mother again." Haze. Elder Tang sighed. After this incident, his voice sounded a lot older. "Grandfather, I can only tolerate one of them. I can't let both of them stay in the Tang family home at the same time. It would be an insult to my mother's spirit in heaven. What do you plan to do?" Since grandfather has already made his decision, then in order to restore the Tang family's reputation, I have an idea. Announce that Tongning is not a part of the Tang family, and that she is simply following her mother's second wife into the family. Elder Tang did not say a word, but he was obviously hurt as he stood up from his chair and left Tang Xian's room. But Tang Xian knew, this was Elder Tang's tacit approval. Since he was going to kick Tongning out, he was going to kick her out completely. Look, the Tang family has released a statement. It turns out, Tongning is not a part of the Tang family and her mother is not a mistress, she is a second wife. So, she is a fake heiress. I originally thought she was a phoenix, but in the end. The commenter above me. I don't care about the Tang family's background, okay? Even so, the Tang family's statement makes me feel like they are throwing Tongning out there, and using her as a spear. Just because she is not their biological child, they can trample all over her? Rich. Do you know what a rich family is? The Tang family had publicly announced that Tongning was not a part of the Tang family, and that she was simply following her mother's second wife into the family. So, the mistress was a misunderstanding and Tongning's background wasn't as bad as the rumors made it out to be. But how many people were ridiculing Tongning behind her back? And how many people that were once afraid of the Tang family were laughing behind her back? She was simply a fake heiress, yet she managed to turn Beijing upside down. What a joke. It was 3 p.m. Tongning looked at the statement in Han Xiner's hands and threw it to one side. This is the Tang family's PR tactic. Ignore it. But Ning Jie, Don't you feel bad that the Tang family is sacrificing you like this? Han Xiner was close to tears. Of course I feel wronged. But I can't return the favor by crying. There are so many people waiting to see me make a fool of myself. They're waiting to see me fall from the clouds. What's the point of feeling wronged? This is too much. Han Xiner threw her phone onto the floor. Tongning lowered her head and calmed down for a moment before she received a phone call from Mo Ting. 7 p.m. Hai Rui will be holding a press conference. I will send someone to pick you up at 6 p.m. Tongning could tell that Mo Ting had suppressed his emotions. He was definitely angry. In fact, he was quite angry. Ting. I'm fine. Today is a day that belongs to us. There's no need to be upset over a stranger, Tongning comforted. If only it had nothing to do with you, Mo Ting sighed. Did you know? Sometimes I really hate myself. Why didn't I meet you earlier? Why did I let you suffer so many injuries? I have you, that's enough, Tongning said firmly as she held back her tears. 6 p.m., right? I will leave on time. Your makeup artist should be home soon. Mo Ting said as he looked at the watch on his wrist. I want to see the most beautiful Tongning. Prepare yourself. I know. Even if it wasn't for herself, for Mo Ting, she still had to pull herself together. After all these years, when had Tongning ever relied on the Tang family? Since the Tang family had decided to deny their blood ties. From now on, Tongning would no longer be a part of the Tang family. A moment later, the makeup artist arrived with the supplies that Mo Ting had prepared for her. Mrs. Mo, please. This elder Tang doesn't look like a stupid person. Why is he so cruel? Fang Yu sighed as he looked at the news from the afternoon in Hai Rui CEO's office. Even if Tongning isn't a part of the Tang family, he shouldn't have sacrificed her like this. Is Tongning really not a part of the Tang family? Mo Ting remained silent. To be exact, the dangerous glint in his eyes had never dissipated from the moment he received the news. From now on she won't be. Fang Yu understood Mo Ting's meaning as he nodded his head. Don't worry, Jingjing has already spoken to me about this a few times. I will definitely make sure Tongning's clarification meeting is as grand as it can be. Hasn't Tongning never relied on the Tang family? Plus, after marrying you, she will be a part of the Mo family. From now on, the Tang family will have nothing to do with her. I know. But I can't help but feel bad when I see her being bullied like this. Mo Ting replied coldly. By announcing your marriage, you are already giving her the biggest support and encouragement. After all, the public has already assumed that you will break up with her after her identity is revealed. Mo Ting scoffed. This is all thanks to the Tang family. There's plenty of time in the future, Fang Yu said with a deeper meaning. Since that's the case, I'll go make my preparations. Go ahead. Mo Ting waved his hand. Sometimes he really wanted to help Tongning shoulder all the storms. But no matter how strong he was, there were some things that he couldn't do anything about. For example, the Tang family. One day he was going to make the Tang family regret. 5 p.m. Tongning was already dressed up as she stood in front of the mirror in a dignified manner. The makeup artist and Han Xiner stared at her in a daze. At this moment, not only was Tongning beautiful, she was also expensive. The dress she was wearing was a luxurious custom made by Christian Dior. It took elements from a cheongsam and used a beige color as the base. On the chest area, it was embroidered with white diamonds. Not only did it wrap around Tongning's body, it also highlighted her best feature. Long legs. Just the price of this gown alone had reached an astonishing 8 digits. Not to mention, her gold-embroidered heels and all sorts of accessories. President Mo is too generous. Han Xiner couldn't help but click her tongue after hearing the makeup artist's description. He has put the most expensive thing in the world on you. He knows I don't like things like this, Tongning said with a gentle smile. He simply wants to show the public his attitude. I understand, Han Xiner nodded. Han Xiner nodded her head. If the Tang family bullies you, the Mo family can handle it. But if you leave the Tang family and marry into the Mo family, I really want to see the expressions of the reporters and the Tang family. It's almost time, let's get ready to go. The makeup artist urged as she helped her put on the last diamond stud. No wonder you are a famous model. I've never seen a body as perfect as yours. Chapter 365. For the sake of this press conference, Fang Yu had put in a lot of effort. Because he knew Emoting had high expectations, he chose the best hotel in Beijing, the Surrey, to hold the event in a luxurious venue. On top of that, he strictly controlled the venue and had high expectations for every reporter that entered the venue. This was a treatment that Hai Rui's artists had never received before. As soon as news of this spread, everyone began to spread rumors that Emoting was trying to support Tang Ning. However, they never expected the Tang family's abandonment would come so suddenly, and Hai Rui couldn't possibly prepare all of this in one day. So, Emoting had already prepared this beforehand. He originally planned to use it to announce their marriage, but since the Tang family had already shown their attitude, it was only right for him to respond. 6:30 p.m. Moting had just finished a busy day at work and arrived at the hotel. As soon as he entered the waiting room, he saw Tang Ning standing by the window. He removed his cold jacket and hugged Tang Ning from behind. "What are you thinking about?" "I'm thinking about you," Tang Ning replied as she pressed her face against Emoting's. "I'm thinking about our future life and the fact that we will be together for the next few decades. It makes me feel warm and beautiful." After hearing Tang Ning's words, Emoting turned her around and held onto her hand. "After announcing our marriage, you will still be Tang Ning. You don't need to make any changes for me. You can continue to do runway shows and act. As for me, I will be your exclusive manager for the rest of my life, as long as you want me to. In that case, should I prepare a lifetime contract? Didn't you look at the contract carefully? It will last for 50 years after my death." Tang Ning tiptoed and placed a kiss on Emoting's lips. She then hooked her arms around his neck. "It's about time. Let me help you change into your dress." "Are you sad because of what happened to the Tang family?" Emoting asked as he held onto Tang Ning's hand. The couple walked into the changing room, and Emoting opened up his arms in front of the mirror. "Rather than saying I'm sad, it would be more accurate to say I'm angry and wronged. But I know you will help me get revenge soon enough." Tang Ning unbuttoned Emoting's jacket and unbuttoned his shirt, revealing his impressive abs. "I'm glad you know." Tang Ning's face turned red as she couldn't help but ask, "You do so much for me every day. Aren't you tired?" "Tired?" Emoting nodded his head. "But I think this tiredness is worth it. I am willing to be this tired. I want to be this tired for the rest of my life." Tang Ning helped Emoting put on the black suit. As she looked at the gold embroidery on his sleeves, she suddenly realized his suit and the dress she was wearing were a matching outfit. Emoting stood tall and straight, dressed in a retro oriental suit, making him look even more slender and dignified. Under the reflection of the lights, his uncanny facial features looked even more resolute and handsome. This was the Emoting that Tang Ning was infatuated with, the Emoting that she worshipped with all her heart, and the most precious gift that God had given her. "It's about time. I'll go on stage first. In a moment, Shiner will bring you in," Emoting instructed. "Why do we have to leave first?" Tang Ning didn't understand. "I have some private matters to deal with first. Be a good girl." After speaking, Emoting placed a kiss on her forehead. "Did I compliment you on how beautiful you look tonight?" "No. You are indeed beautiful." After speaking, Emoting wrapped his arms around Tang Ning. A moment later, he finally let go. Inside the luxurious venue, most of the Beijing media had already arrived. They had attended plenty of press conferences in the past, but none of them were as grand and high-class as this one. For the sake of Tang Ning, Emoting was willing to go this far. Needless to say, it was obvious how much Emoting doted on her. The hotel had set up a stage. Standing behind the stage was Fang Yu. He was dressed in a retro blue suit. His outfit was extremely formal. It was obvious how much importance he placed on this press conference. Today, apart from responding to Tang Ning's family background, I have another piece of good news to share with everyone. Please wait patiently. Now let's welcome President Mo onto the stage. The reporters were shocked. They originally thought having Fang Yu host the press conference was already a great honor. After all, he was currently the vice president of Hai Rui. Who would have thought Mo Ting would be the one to personally take the stage? Afterwards, under the shocked gazes of the reporters, Mo Ting walked out from the backstage and appeared in front of everyone. All the reporters noticed Mo Ting's outfit. It was obvious how much importance he placed on this press conference. But it didn't seem like he was here to clarify anything. Rather, he was here to attend a ceremony. Mo Ting faced the reporters and scanned across the venue. The corners of his lips curved upwards as he finally spoke. Let me get to the point. Today's press conference has a lot to announce and a lot of information. It's enough for the media to write multiple headlines. The reporters burst into laughter. They thought Mo Ting was joking, but their curiosity was still piqued. So they decided to listen to what he had to say. Firstly, regarding the birth of my artist, Tongning, I would like to announce that Tongning is the biological daughter of the Tang family. She is not an outsider. The blood of the Tang family flows through her body. Oh God, is this true? This is President Mo trying to slap the Tang family in the face. If Tongning is the biological daughter of the Tang family, why doesn't the Tang family acknowledge her? Or could it be that Tongning's mother is actually a mistress? The reporters were in an uproar as they began to discuss amongst themselves. In fact, they couldn't understand why Mo Ting was trying to expose this truth. Secondly, the past of Tongning's mother is a private matter of the previous generation. It has nothing to do with Tongning. If anyone dares to spread rumors and insult her, Hai Rui will definitely cooperate with the law and punish them. Lastly, Mo Ting looked at everyone present and raised his left hand, revealing the wedding ring on his ring finger. He then said loudly, on behalf of my wife, Tongning, I would like to officially lodge a complaint against the Tang family. When Mo Ting mentioned wife, he deliberately paused for a moment to emphasize. Wife? What? Wife? Hurry up and take a picture of my wife. The reporters seemed to have gone crazy as they continuously snapped their shutters at Mo Ting. They wanted to hear what Mo Ting was going to announce. He was referring to Tongning as his wife. They were married, right? They were married, right? It's understandable that the Tang family want to save face. But they have publicly cut off all ties and erased all blood relations to achieve their own goals. This has already caused serious harm to my wife. Since morals cannot restrain the Tang family, then I, Mo Ting, have no choice but to take legal action and make them pay the price. Chapter 366. A lawyer's letter will be sent to the Tang family soon. No matter how the Tang family wants to fight, I, Mo Ting, will be happy to keep you company. Mo Ting's words were serious and firm without the slightest hesitation. He clearly expressed his stance. He was going to get revenge on the Tang family. The Tang family had tried so hard to hide the truth, yet he was going to expose it. The Tang family had painstakingly abandoned them, yet he was going to fight back. He was going to tell everyone that the Tang family's bullying of Tongning had come to an end. From today onwards, Tongning will take on my husband's surname. I will give all the best things I have to my wife. After speaking, Mo Ting stretched out his hand towards the entrance of the venue. With a loud bang, the main doors of the venue were pushed open by the security guards. Tongning stood behind the doors in a dazzling glow. Tongning is here. Isn't she a little too beautiful? Oh God, she's being spoiled like a queen. The reporters began to snap photos of Tongning. She's so beautiful. Looking at the crowd of reporters and Mo Ting standing not too far away, Tongning held her breath and took a deep breath. Afterwards, she walked towards the stage. Tongning. Tongning is so glamorous. So what if the Tang family sacrificed her? She is still married to Mo Ting. With this comparison, it doesn't matter if she's the heiress of the Tang family or not. She already has a husband that loves her so much. I like President Mo's way of doing things. The Tang family sacrificed Tongning, yet they still want to stand on their own. How is that possible? President Mo is great. Along the way, the crowd continued to discuss. Whether it was envy, shock, belittlement, or praise, Tongning couldn't hear any of it. At this moment, all she could see was Mo Ting. A moment later, Tongning finally stood in front of Mo Ting. The first thing Mo Ting did was hug his wife. Tongning, say a few words. Tongning. Hearing the reporter's shouts, Tongning extricated herself from Mo Ting's embrace and bowed to the reporters. She then received the microphone from Mo Ting's hands. Hello, I am Tongning. Tongning. How do you feel about the Tang family sacrificing you like this? Do you support President Mo in taking the Tang family to court? As soon as the media arrived, they asked two very sharp questions about the Tang family. Tongning turned her head and looked at Mo Ting as she held tightly onto his hand. At this moment, she felt a strong backing behind her and gained courage. So she replied in a loud voice, I've already told the public how I live my life. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. Even if it's my family, there is a limit to my tolerance. So my husband's wishes are my wishes and my husband's wishes are my wishes. Do you hate the Tang family? I have no hatred towards the Tang family. I have more meaningful things to do in my life. Tongning replied in seriousness. Then aren't you angry about what the outside world says about you? What's real can't be fake, and what's fake can't be real. As long as my husband trusts me, I feel like a lot of things aren't that important anymore. In that case, can you tell us how you feel right now? Tongning turned her head and looked at Mo Ting. She then let go of his hand and took a step forward. She then said in a serious tone, Tongning, I don't know what kind of person I am in your hearts right now. But I want to tell everyone that I've never taken the initiative to hurt anyone. I'm not a kind person. In the eyes of some fans, I'm a schemer. But everything I've done, I've lived up to my conscience. I've never crossed a bottom line. Along the way, I've been through a lot of hardships, I've encountered a lot of obstacles and I've suffered a lot. But because of the protection of the person by my side, I'm able to stand where I am today. Perhaps all of you might think that I'm not good enough for him. After all, he's such a dazzling person. But whether it's walking the runway or acting, I simply want to be the best Tongning I can be and become his wife. Plus, because he loves me. In this world, I'm the only one that can be by his side. This will be my mission for the rest of my life. Lastly, I would like to thank my husband for everything he's done for me. At the same time, I will unconditionally support every decision he makes. After speaking, Tongning once again bowed to the media. Of course, because of her sincerity, a lot of female reporters began to shed tears. Every word she said on stage was filled with 100% of her emotions. She was the voice of a lot of women that had just met their lover. I wish you all the best. Yes, I wish you all the best. Tongning, you're amazing. Tongning, don't be afraid. Let the Tang family apologize to you. After receiving the blessings, Tongning smiled and took a few steps back to stand beside Mo Ting. She then handed the microphone back to him. Mo Ting held onto Tongning's hand and raised the microphone again. At the same time, I hope the media can guide the public in a positive direction. After all, the entire entertainment industry still needs your supervision. Mo Ting placed a moral label on the media. But polite meant that they were giving them some face. If anyone tried to disrupt the peace, they couldn't blame Hai Rui for being merciless. Of course, don't worry, President Mo. We will definitely report on the Tang family to the best of our ability. Don't worry. Seeing that Mo Ting and Mo Ting had said everything they needed to say, Fang Yu finally received the microphone and said to the reporters, After the press conference, I would like to invite everyone to the banquet hall. There will also be a dinner. As soon as the reporters heard about a dinner, they were overjoyed. It meant Hai Rui still had PR to give them benefits. But before the press conference was over, the public was already in an uproar. Especially the fans. La, this day has finally arrived. Luckily, I didn't give up. Wow, Mo Ting is so cool. His way of protecting his wife deserves 100 points. So handsome. So beautiful. I'm talking about Tongning's legs. He directly announced his marriage. Fuck, is he trying to kill the single dogs? Mo Ting's press conference this time has won my heart. It's like a slap to the Tang family's face. Ha ha ha, the Tang family thinks they're so great. But in the end, Tongning has turned into a member of the Mo family. Ha ha, she doesn't want to be the heiress of the Tang family at all. If she wants to be, she should be Mrs. Mo. By the way, the Tang family are so cruel. They're even willing to sacrifice their own family. For the sake of their reputation, they're willing to turn their own family into a wild one. I have to hand it to them. This is the first time I've seen something like this. The Tang family. Because Mo Ting had borrowed the attention of the entertainment industry. He was currently drowning in saliva. As for the Tang family's reaction. Chapter 367. Chairman. Hai Rui's lawyer is already outside the door, his assistant said to Elder Tang, who was deep in thought. Should we let them in? Elder Tang waved his hand helplessly. But this is karma. Elder Tang cleared his throat. Elder Tang cleared his throat. If I hadn't spoiled her, perhaps things wouldn't have gotten to this point. I know Tongning is innocent, but I don't know why. When I saw her do something stupid, I thought she had gotten used to it and would understand my difficulties. Elder Tang said in a deep voice. It turns out I've already hurt her so badly. I've wasted my seniority. Chairman. The assistant said helplessly. The Tang family had indeed done too much in this matter, so he couldn't find any words to comfort Elder Tang. Although the Tang family had a lot of descendants, in Elder Tang's eyes, Tongning was the only one that could shoulder the responsibility. Yet he had personally pushed Tongning out of the family. What would happen to the Tang family from now on? Was the century-old perfume brand going to end in his hands? A moment later, Elder Tang entered the living room. As soon as he saw Hai Rui's lawyer, he sat down on the sofa and asked, What does President Mo want? Let's get straight to the point. There's no need to waste each other's time. Elder Tang, it's very simple. I only need one word, an apology. There's no need for compensation. The Mo family has everything they want. We don't need anything from you. The lawyer replied straightforwardly. We are all straightforward people. This time, we have been entrusted by President Mo to let the Tang family know that there are some things that didn't need to go this far. But the Tang family's actions have been too unsightly and have severely hurt Mrs. Mo's heart. For the sake of protecting his wife, President Mo has requested an apology from the Tang family. How should we apologize? Elder Tang asked. That will depend on Elder Tang's sincerity. You guys can go home. I already understand President Mo's intentions. Elder Tang said as he twirled his walking stick. We will definitely do as he wishes. Since that's the case, we will take our leave. After speaking, the lawyer stood up. Elder Tang then looked at the ancient painting in the middle of the living room, and said to his assistant, Go make arrangements to apologize to Xiao Ning. Chairman. It's my fault as a grandfather. Can't I apologize to my granddaughter? Elder Tang stomped his walking stick on the ground. Tongning is my granddaughter, the granddaughter I value the most. But now, It seems Miss Tongning is seriously injured this time, her assistant sighed. I also know. The future of the Tang family is worrying. After speaking, Elder Tang suddenly clutched his chest as his body began to twitch. A few seconds later, he fell to the ground unconscious. His assistant was so shocked that he sent Elder Tang to the hospital. As soon as Tang Xian and the others heard the news, they immediately rushed over to the emergency room. As soon as they saw Elder Tang's assistant, they ran up to him. What happened? Why would Grandpa suddenly have an accident? It's just a sudden relapse. What else could it be? It's all because of Tongning. Tang Xian's assistant had already hidden the fact that Hai Rui's lawyer had visited, but Tang Xian still blamed Elder Tang's illness on Tongning. Big miss, if you had been a little less angry at the chairman, perhaps he wouldn't be in the hospital right now, her assistant said coldly. What did you say? Tang Xian's expression changed. Just as she was about to explode in anger, Father Tang hugged her and tried to calm her down. Xian heir, your grandfather's condition is currently unknown. Don't cause any more trouble. Tang Xian freed herself from Father Tang's embrace and turned to look at Mother Tang. If it wasn't for you and your daughter, our Tang family wouldn't be in such a mess. Mother Tang glared at Tang Xian coldly as her voice trembled. Time will prove who is the rightful one. Stop arguing. Father Tang yelled anxiously. A moment later, the doctor stepped out of the emergency room and said to everyone, "The patient is fine, but he can't be agitated any further." In that case, can we go in and see him? Father Tang asked. Yes, but don't get in the way of the patient's rest. After speaking, the doctor left. Tang Xian and the others pushed open the door and entered the room. As soon as they saw Elder Tang lying in bed, Tang Xian immediately pounced on him. Grandfather, are you okay? Elder Tang waved his hand and looked at his assistant. Ask them to leave first. I have something to tell you. Big miss, you guys can leave first. Although Tang Xian wasn't happy, she had no intention of disobeying Elder Tang. So, she stood up and left the room with Father Tang and the others. While I'm not feeling well, let Tang Xian temporarily take over as executive CEO. I want to see how capable she is. Yes. Chairman. But I'm afraid that something might happen to me. So, quickly arrange for a lawyer to prepare a will. I want to hand over all the power of the Tang family to Tongning. Elder Tang finally made his decision. I know that Tongning is the only hope of the Tang family. Assistant Lung, when the time comes, you must support Tongning well. Chairman, you will be fine. Go and get ready. Assistant Lung nodded his head and left the room. He then told Tang Xian about Elder Tang's decision to make Tang Xian the executive CEO. However, he made a request. The chairman hopes that the big miss can apologize to third miss on his behalf. You must show your sincerity. At this moment, Tang Xian simply thought that Elder Tang was handing over power to her. So in her eyes, Tongning was nothing. Tell grandfather not to worry. I will apologize to Tongning properly. Big miss, I hope you don't disappoint the chairman. Over the years, Assistant Lung had witnessed Tang Xian's personality. He did not believe that Tang Xian had the ability to manage Tang Core perfume well. Plus, with her magnanimity, if she found out that Elder Tang had handed over power to Tongning, she would definitely cause trouble. So, Assistant Lung was extremely calm and knew what he needed to say and do. Don't worry, I won't disappoint grandfather's expectations. After speaking, Tang Xian raised an eyebrow and looked at Mother Tang. Meanwhile, Mother Tang clenched her fists so tightly that her knuckles turned blue. She knew that if Tang Xian became the head of the household, her good days in the Tang family would come to an end. She didn't care what happened to her. But what about Tongning? Her daughter didn't seem to care about the Tang family at all. She was already married. But would the Mo family misunderstand her identity? The mistress? Who was the mistress here? All of a sudden, she wanted to do one last thing for Tongning and her daughter. Chapter 368. This was the first night that Tongning and Mo Ting announced their marriage. And Mo Ting once again treated this night as their wedding night. Not only did he light the entire home with incense and candles, he even placed Tongning in a sea of white flowers. If this is a dream, I hope I never wake up. Tongning sat in Mo Ting's embrace as Mo Ting wrapped his arms around her. Have a look. Mo Ting showed Tongning a fan's message. Tongning, Mo Ting, are you in the bridal room? Haha, Tongning, you've done a great job. The Tang family doesn't want you, but our Mo Ting wants you. Tongning, when are you guys going to create a little Ning or little Ting for everyone to play with? Let me ask a dirty question. How are President Mo's abilities? Seeing this message, Tongning's cheeks turned red as she buried her head in Mo Ting's white shirt. Don't kids these days go to school? She's asking you how my abilities are. Mo Ting chuckled beside Tongning's ear. How do you expect me to answer a question like this? Tongning asked as she tugged on Mo Ting's shirt. Mo Ting smiled as he hugged Tongning tightly and said gently, I really don't want to let you go to the set of Hidden Expert. We've already announced our marriage. Don't we need to go see the Mo family's elders? Tongning asked as she struggled free from Mo Ting's embrace. I've already spoken to them about this. According to tradition, we should first seek the approval of the woman's family. So their request for me was to take you home as soon as the Tang family gives their approval, Ting explained. It's okay. I can go see them. The approval of the Tang family isn't that important. But this won't stop you from entering the set of Hidden Expert. Tongning nodded her head. In reality, she felt she was being too hasty. Her identity as the daughter of a mistress had embarrassed the Mo family. What are you thinking about? It's not because of what you think it is. My parents are overseas right now. I'll call you one day to introduce you to them. As for grandfather, after he finds out I'm actually married, he's already worrying about the next generation. Why haven't they appeared after so long? Tongning asked curiously. Because they are used to keeping a low profile. In short, the Mo family is more casual, so you don't have to worry about anything. Thinking about it carefully, Ting had never lied to her before. So she nodded her head in relief. I will work hard. I will work hard to be worthy of you. I don't have any other requests from you. I just want you to be happy. Ting gently stroked her hair as he placed a gentle kiss on her forehead. Last time I heard you sing, I want you to record the theme song for Stupid. Do you really think I know everything? At least, I'm sure singing won't be a problem for you. Why do I feel like President Mo is trying to save money for the company? Tongning stretched out her hand and twisted Ting's ear. Her gaze was attracted to the mole on his ear. She had always thought that this mole was very beautiful. It was like a black earring, and it was completely natural. Feeling Tongning's fingers caressing him, Ting's eyes gradually became hazy. He grabbed her hands and placed them on his chest as he said in a low voice, "Help me take off my clothes." Tongning nodded her head, stood up, knelt in front of Ting and helped him unbutton his shirt. As soon as his muscular chest was revealed, she ran over to his ear and placed a kiss on the tempting mole. Ting stretched out his arms and pulled her into his embrace. He quickly regained control of her. Tomorrow, you will be able to answer your fans' questions. What questions? Tongning asked in a daze. Questions about my abilities. The next day, because Stupid had finished filming, Tongning accompanied Ting to work. Inside the spacious CEO's office, Tongning sat on the sofa looking at music scores. Ting had asked her to try and write lyrics for the song. Perhaps it was because they had announced their marriage. Tongning had a peaceful aura around her. With her husband's love and a busy career, she felt satisfied from the bottom of her heart. President. Feng Yu knocked on the door and entered. As soon as he saw Tongning sitting on the sofa, the words he originally wanted to say were stuck in his throat. Ting glanced at Tongning and said, "Come in and talk to me." The Tang family have sent an invitation for Tongning to meet with them. They say they have arranged an apology, but I think they are playing a trick. The latest news is that Elder Tang has been hospitalized, but they have kept the news under wraps. I'm sure the big miss of the Tang family doesn't want Tongning to know. Feng Yu whispered to Ting. Is he okay? He's fine. Keep a close eye on him. After giving his instructions, Ting stood up with the invitation in his hand and approached Tongning. He then placed his hands on the sofa and asked, "The Tang family have invited you to catch up. Do you want to go?" Has the Tang family announced this to the public? Tongning raised an eyebrow. Of course. In that case you should go. Otherwise, what would you become? Wouldn't the public think you're petty? They are simply putting on an act. After all, we are both aware that the person that should apologize will never apologize sincerely. Let's resolve this issue before I enter the set of Hidden Expert. In that case, I'll go with you. No need. Tongning stopped her. The Tang family can no longer hurt me. I simply want to see what tricks Tang Xian has up her sleeves. I've said it before, I won't give her any more chances. Okay, Lu Che should be back in a couple of days. Let him go with you. Go ahead, I'll continue writing the lyrics, Tongning nodded. It seemed she would never be able to have family love in this lifetime. But she still needed to learn what it meant to be loved by a parent. Otherwise, how was she going to teach her child? Ting looked at Tongning in a daze and lowered his head silently. Even though he had thought of many ways to distract Tongning, he still ended up being hurt by the Tang family. Tongning wasn't weak. She wasn't the type of woman that needed a man to coax and lie to. But he still couldn't help but be careful. By the way, the magazines that you took a few photos in the past have all responded well. If I have the chance to contact a high-end magazine, I will accept them for you. You can make the decision, Tongning smiled. At this moment, her secretary entered the office with a tray and said to Tongning, "Madam, your black tea." Madam. Hearing this word, Tongning suddenly felt a warm feeling in her heart. "Thank you. I really like you. Good luck," the secretary said before she quickly left the office. Tongning couldn't help but smile. "It seems I am more charming than you. Even your secretary likes me. She can like you as much as she wants. I won't be jealous." Chapter 369. Tang Xian wanted to apologize to Tongning. Who would believe a thing like this? After Elder Tang fell ill and was admitted to the hospital, he made Tang Xian the CEO on one condition. She had to personally apologize to Tongning. So she invited Tongning to play a game of poker. In reality, her motive was to let Tongning know that she had taken over the Tang family business. Tang Xian's husband worked in the shipping industry, so he was often away from home. Even after 3 years of marriage, the couple treated each other with respect. Compared to loving her family, Tang Xian loved the feeling of having power in her hands more. After a long day of work, Tang Xian returned home. However, she was stopped by Mother Tang. "Stop harassing Tongning. You don't have the final say in this matter. The person that wants the Tang family to apologize is the CEO of Hai Rui." Tang Xian freed herself from Mother Tang's grip. "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, after all these years, the Tang family business has finally returned to my hands. I haven't let my mother down. If the family business had really fallen into the hands of shady people, I'm sure she wouldn't have been able to rest in peace. Plus, so what if Hai Rui stands up for Tongning? Isn't Tongning the child of a mistress? This is a reality that no one can change. I wonder what the Mo family would think if they found out about her identity. I'm more than happy to hear about her divorce. As you know, the entertainment industry is quite messy these days. According to Mo Ting's status, if he wants to change his wife, there are plenty of people lining up." Mother Tang clenched her fists as her body trembled in anger. But Tang Xian had hit the nail on the head. "I'm not a mistress, your mother is." However, just as Mother Tang finished speaking, Tang Xian immediately threw a slap across her face. "Don't mention my mother. You're not worthy." "What's going on now?" Father Tang returned home and saw the two women staring at each other. He immediately ran over and stood in between them. "Ask her what she said." "Who is the mistress?" Tang Xian asked angrily as she pointed at Mother Tang. "Yuling, what did you say to the child this time?" Father Tang looked at Tang Xian awkwardly as he pulled Mother Tang into the room. "Yuling, why did you say this to the child?" "Tang Qinwen, I must have been blind to believe your words and believe that Tongning would return to my side." Mrs. Tang sneered. "Because of you, I allowed my own daughter to misunderstand me for 26 years. I've never explained myself to anyone. But in the end, what did I get? Your good daughter pointed at my nose and hit me. Tang Qinwen, I've had enough. Right now, I only have one thought in my life, and that is to make my daughter happy. So don't blame me." After speaking, Mother Tang pushed Father Tang away, left the Tang family home and drove to Hai Rui. She really wanted to have a chat with Mo Ting. But all she saw was Mo Ting escorting Tongning downstairs. The couple were loving and affectionate. In the underground car park, Mo Ting opened the car door for Tongning. He had overindulged last night, so he planned to let her go home and rest. However, when he looked around, he noticed Mrs. Tang hiding not too far away. Mo Ting lowered his head and patted Tongning on the shoulder. "Someone seems to want to see you." Tongning followed Mo Ting's gaze and saw Mrs. Tang not too far away. She originally wanted to ignore her, but after a sigh, she stepped out of the car and said to Mo Ting, "Hurry back to work." "Do you need me to accompany you?" "No need." Tongning shook her head. Mo Ting respected her privacy, so he placed a kiss on her forehead and said, "Go ahead." Tongning did not allow anyone to accompany her as she headed straight for Mother Tang's car. Mother Tang thought Tongning hadn't noticed her. As soon as she saw Tongning appear in front of her, she looked at her awkwardly. Get in the car. Let's go somewhere nearby for a chat. Mo Ting watched as the two women left and followed behind in his car, until they entered a nearby cafe. Meanwhile, Mo Ting sat in the car and waited patiently. Xiaoning, does he treat you well? Mother Tang was a little uneasy as she swirled the cup in her hand, not daring to look at Tongning. I'm already married to Mo Ting. From now on, I belong to the Mo family. I will no longer have anything to do with the Tang family. You should focus on your own life. Tongning replied calmly. No, your grandfather is sick, so Tang Xian has become the CEO. According to her, even if you express yourself, she will not let you off the hook. Mother Tang suddenly grabbed onto Tongning's hand. But a moment later, she realized it was too sudden, so she let go. I don't mean anything else. I simply want to ask, does the Mo family care about rumors that you are a mistress child? Isn't that the truth? That's not. Mother Tang immediately denied. Xiaoning, I know you hate me and haven't forgiven me for so many years, but I've already forgotten. From now on, I hope Mrs. Tang won't mention these things because they've already happened and can't be changed. Yes, they can't be changed. Mother Tang suddenly looked like she had lost her soul. But after thinking for a moment, she lifted her head again. If I can change it, can you forgive me? Tongning couldn't describe how she felt, nor could she describe how much she hated her. But I don't hate you. Xiaoning, I really want to be like a normal mother and daughter, holding hands and shopping. Mother Tang choked up. That doesn't seem possible, Tongning replied straightforwardly. Seeing Mother Tang's disappointment, she added, because of my identity, I can't wander around like a normal person. Plus, I am about to join another production, and it will take me 3 months to complete. Okay, I know. I just want to tell you that you are my pride. At this moment, Tongning still didn't understand what Mother Tang meant, so she did not have much of a reaction. The only reason she was able to calmly meet with the Tang family was because she didn't want Mo Ting to worry. Tongning couldn't remember what else the couple talked about. But, as she waited to leave the cafe, she noticed Mo Ting's car parked outside. This was perhaps the world's biggest gift to her. I don't say it, but you know I need you. Whenever I want to see you, you will appear by my side like a miracle. As Mother Tang left, she saw the loving look on Tongning and Mo Ting's faces and smiled. Xiaoning, the only thing I can do for you is clear my name so you don't have to be criticized by everyone anymore. Mo Ting gestured for Tongning to get into the car. As he looked at Mother Tang's expression as she left, he subconsciously remembered something. What's wrong? Mo Ting asked as he noticed Tongning hugging onto his arm as soon as he boarded the car. I was just thinking that she may not be having a good time in the Tang family, Tongning replied. Perhaps your mother isn't as bad as you think. Chapter 370. The next day was the day that Tang Xian agreed to reconcile with Tongning. It was also the second to last day that Tongning was to join the cast of Hidden Expert. Release a photo of my parents to the media and provide evidence that the woman is a mistress. The bigger the commotion, the better. It would be best if everyone in the Mo family knows that the mother and daughter. Before Tang Xian could finish her sentence, her phone was snatched from behind her. Tang Xian turned around. Seeing it was her brother, she let out a sigh of relief. Jingxian, give me back my phone. Tang Jingxian didn't say anything. Taking advantage of his height, he put the phone to his ear and said to the person on the other end, cancel the plan. What are you doing? Tang Xian, I really can't believe it. You're my biological sister. Are you born with such viciousness? Tang Jingxian smirked as he threw the phone back at Tang Xian. I don't care who you want to harm or how you want to do it. Just don't let me hear about it. Jingxian, I'm doing this for this family. I don't think Tongning is getting in my way. Tang Jingxian ran his fingers through his hair and sneered as he prepared to return to his room. Oh, by the way, since you are now in charge of the Tang family, you don't mind if I enter the entertainment industry, right? Are you kidding me? You are the fourth young master of the Tang family. Then it's decided. After Tang Jingxian said that, his tall figure quickly disappeared in the aisle. Not long after, Mrs. Tang entered the house to find Tang Xian sitting on the sofa with anger in her eyes. Tang Xian sneered as she stood up and said to Mother Tang, "If you don't want to stay in this house, you can leave. Of course, you can also continue to be a servant for the Tang family." Mother Tang did not say a word as she prepared to return to her room. However, Tang Xian deliberately said, "I've handed the evidence of you being a mistress to the media. Last time, it was just a small fuss that was quickly settled by Mo Ting. This time, it's solid evidence. How did you seduce my father and kill my mother? In the past, I tolerated you because I cared about your father's reputation. But now I no longer care. So, Tang Xian, you will regret this." There was no longer any anger in Mother Tang's eyes as she spoke. Instead, there was a sense of relief. Tang Xian was surprised by her reaction. But before she could say anything, Mother Tang had already returned to her room. "Stop right there. Rather than living like this, he might as well give everyone a quick death." If Tang Xian dared to hurt her daughter again, she would make Tang Xian pay the heaviest price. In the evening, Tongning was packing her luggage because she was about to enter the set of Hidden Expert. Mo Ting called Han Xiner over to help tidy up Tongning's clothes while he led her into the bedroom. Before Tongning could stand properly, Mo Ting had already carried her in his arms. "This time, I won't be able to continue working on the set." "I know." Tongning nodded her head. Hidden Expert required her to travel to many different cities for filming, so it was impossible for Mo Ting to be by her side at all times. 3 months. If I had known, I wouldn't have accepted this script. Manager Mo, even if you can avoid it this time, will you be able to avoid it again? Don't worry, no matter where I go, I will take good care of myself. Also, tell Xiner to keep me updated on my situation. As for Long Jie, when she returns, tell her to apply for Hai Rui. Since she's already married, she shouldn't have to run around with me anymore. I will check up on you every day. After speaking, Mo Ting held onto Tongning's cheeks and kissed her. His kiss was less forceful and passionate than usual, but it was filled with a sense of longing and reluctance. Tongning responded to Mo Ting wholeheartedly. It wasn't until her cheeks were completely red that the couple parted unwillingly. "Don't be like this," Tongning mumbled. However, Mo Ting directly sat down on the bed and pulled Tongning onto his lap. Afterwards, he kissed her again. Tongning couldn't help but let out a moan, but Mo Ting still forcefully swallowed her into his stomach. "We've been married for so long, but this is the first time we've been apart for so long. It seems I've spent more time clinging to you than you clinging to me. Mrs. Mo, I suddenly feel like I'm at a disadvantage. Don't tell me the person that has given more love will be more reluctant to let go?" After hearing Mo Ting's words, Tongning froze. Although she was normally introverted, it didn't mean she couldn't bear to part with Mo Ting. "This is the script you accepted for me. I will do my best to complete it. I want to be the best wife you can give me. That way, I can feel safe." Mo Ting hugged Tongning tightly. It was like he wanted to embed her into his flesh and blood. Although he didn't want to let her go, this was the Tongning that worked hard to live up to herself. This was the Tongning that attracted him the most. This was the Tongning that shone brightly. "Tonight, you need to make it up to me." Tongning leaned over and nibbled on his ear. "What do you think?" Mo Ting flipped over and pressed her down on top of him as he tore her clothes apart. From now on. Not long after, Han Xiner helped Tongning pack her luggage. Originally, she was going to report to Mo Ting and Mo Ting's bedroom. But as she stopped, she heard a small sound. Han Xiner's cheeks turned red as she took a few steps back. It was still broad daylight. She couldn't wait any longer. But thinking about how they were going to be apart for so long, she understood and turned around to return to her apartment. But before entering the set, she still needed to see Tang Xian. The weather in March was warm and sunny. Han Xiner arrived at Hyatt Regency on time to pick Tongning up and meet Tang Xian at the hotel. However, Tongning did not get out of bed yet. That morning, not only her but even Mo Ting did not get to work on time due to his overindulgence. "Ting, I need to meet Tang Xian at 10 a.m. I'm going to be late. Hearing Tongning's words, Ting sat up in bed, lifted her in his arms and helped her wash up in the bathroom. Don't be like this. The way you are makes me want to give up everything and just stay by your side. Ting wrapped her in a towel. Seeing the marks all over her body, he felt a little regretful. Apart from the time they were filming, this was the first time he had left marks on Tongning's body. Does it hurt? Tongning smiled and shook her head. I've already asked you to give up your supermodel title. How could I ask you to give up your best actress title? How could I? After speaking, Ting finally let her go. Tongning hugged Ting from behind and whispered, Ting, you are the motivation that makes me stronger. I can give up my supermodel title for you, and I can also become a best actress for you. Chapter 371. Ting turned around and hugged Tongning for quite some time before the couple stepped out of the bedroom. At this time, they received a phone call from Fangyu. President Mo, I've intercepted some information regarding Mother Tang. I've already sent it to your email. You can have a look. Ting did not say a word to Fangyu as he hung up the phone and logged into his email. As soon as he saw the information Tang Xian wanted the reporters to spread, his gaze turned cold and sharp. What's wrong? Tongning asked as she noticed the change in Ting's expression. In a moment, I have a new score to settle. Ting handed his phone to Tongning. Tongning casually flipped through it and nodded her head. Tang Xian arranged to meet at a cafe called Moon. She had also invited the media and reporters. Dressed in a white business suit, she exuded the aura of a successful career woman. It was like she was about to blow the horn of victory. Before Tang Xian became the acting CEO, the Tang family rarely appeared in front of the media. Elder Tang had devoted his entire life to managing the perfume business and had carried forward the century-old brand. To this day, he had not even hired a spokesperson. But it was obvious that Tang Xian wanted to explore a new path. So, she arranged to meet with Tongning because she wanted to use this opportunity to show off her status. 10 a.m. Tongning arrived late. As soon as she entered the hall and saw Tang Xian, she couldn't help but be surprised. The two sisters were more or less similar, but they were also completely different. Tang Xian was arrogant, like a thorny rose, beautiful and full of wildness. Tongning was quiet, but there was a hidden coldness between her brows. On the surface she appeared harmless, but in reality, behind her patience was a sharp knife. One was in the light, while the other was in the dark. You're here. Tang Xian's eyes were filled with jealousy as she looked at Tongning. How could the child of a mistress marry the king of the entertainment industry, and marry such an outstanding man? As for her, she could only rely on herself to take everything from the Tang family. Perhaps it was on purpose, but Tongning's clothes and accessories were all limited edition, especially the handbag she was carrying. Before Tongning's appearance, the reporters thought Tang Xian was indeed from a prestigious family. Every movement she made exuded an elegant aura. But after Tongning's appearance, they finally realized there was always someone better than her. Tongning's 9 years as a model weren't for nothing. Even though he was only sitting beside Tang Xian was overshadowed by him. Even the bewitching red rose was suppressed and lost its luster. Since you're all here, let's take a photo together. There's no rush. Tongning pulled out her phone and showed Tang Xian the message Hai Rui had intercepted this morning. Do you want to explain what this is? Tang Xian took a look at the phone and her expression changed. As long as it's a piece of gossip, it's hard for it to escape Hai Rui's information network. Next time you do something like this, can you use your brain first? Tongning looked at Tang Xian like she was watching a joke. I've been in this industry for 9 years. Tang Xian, I've seen all sorts of people. I don't want to play such lowly tricks with you. Didn't you come here today to show off to me that you've become the CEO of Tang Corp? Tongning put away her phone and changed the subject. Plus, you look down on my status as a model, yet you want to use my fame to let the public know that you, Tang Xian, are in control of Tang Corp? Am I right? After hearing Tongning's words, the reporters suddenly didn't know if they should continue filming. Grandfather's health isn't good, so I won't bother him with things like this. But I've said it before, my patience with you has long since reached its limit. That's why I helped you become famous. A good sister like you deserves to be known by everyone. What do you mean by that? Tang Xian looked at Tang Ning cautiously. You'll find out in a moment. Tang Ning remained calm. This was her usual attitude. She was about to leave Beijing to film in another city. Although she didn't acknowledge her mother, it didn't mean she would allow Tang Xian to bully her mother. Under these circumstances, she simply wanted to remind Tang Xian to behave herself. I still need to attend the opening ceremony, so I won't stay any longer. Take care of yourself. After speaking, Tang Ning stood up and put on a hat and sunglasses. With Han Xiner's help, she left the cafe. Tang Xian was a little flustered. It was only now that she realized she couldn't see through Tang Ning at all. But it was because of this feeling of defeat that her hatred towards Tang Ning grew deeper. President Tang, do you still want to continue filming? Put it away. What else is there to film? After speaking, Tang Xian stood up. Not only had she not achieved her goal today, she had even been taught a lesson by Tang Ning. But just as Tang Xian was about to leave the cafe, a group of reporters suddenly rushed into the cafe and surrounded her. Miss Tang, we heard you abused your stepmother and exposed your dirty linen in order to seize power. Is this true? We heard you forced your stepmother to the point of suicide. Is this true? Miss Tang. Get out of my way. Tang Xian was blocked by the reporters as she stood awkwardly in front of the cameras. Because she had never faced the media like this before, Tang Xian completely lost her usual glamorous demeanor in front of the public. Outside the cafe, Tang Ning sat in her car. As she looked at Tang Xian through the car window, her lips curved upwards. She deserves it. Xiner was satisfied and felt Tang Xian had overestimated herself. Everything else aside, Tang Ning had already been in the industry for 9 years, and was well versed in how to use the public. Yet, Tang Xian actually dared to provoke her? With this, I'm sure she will behave herself for a period of time, and won't dare to do anything to Auntie. After all, if the Tang family made a move, the public would inevitably link everything that happened to Mother Tang to Tang Xian. If she's smart, in order to save her image, she will try her best to treat Auntie well. Tang Ning looked at Han Xiner, and realized she was indeed made for PR. Even Long Jie couldn't think of these things. Han Xiner was able to see through them easily. The problem is she's not that smart. So using this method, it was impossible for Mother Tang's status in the Tang family to change. But that was a personal choice. Han Xiner had already thought it through many years ago. No matter what, she no longer wanted to get involved with the Tang family because she had a new goal: to become a best actress. But there were some problems that she couldn't avoid even if she wanted to. For example, if Tang Xian found out that Elder Tang had already written his will and handed power to Tang Ning, how would she feel? After the opening ceremony, we will head out. Do you still want to see President Mo? Han Xiner asked. Even if I see him, I will still have to separate. Tang Ning sighed. Chapter 372. 12 p.m. The opening ceremony for Hidden Expert was held in Beijing. This time, all the main cast and crew were present, including the rumored national treasure, Bai Chendong. He was in his early 30s, handsome. With his tough guy image, he had performed outstandingly in films such as Undercover and Fierce Robbers. His box office earnings were still unbroken. He was unusually low-key, had a strange personality, and his whereabouts were always a mystery. Apart from filming, no one could find any news about him. Of course, a legend like this always had to choose the script. But not only did he choose the script, he also chose the supporting roles. So Tang Ning was curious as to why Bai Chendong had acknowledged her existence. The opening ceremony went smoothly. After lighting the incense, Tang Ning turned around and saw Bai Chendong. So, it was only right for her to greet him. Hello Dongge. Aha! Bai Chendong nodded his head and brushed past Tang Ning. Tang Ning watched as he left, feeling a little awkward. After all, from now on, she would be following Bai Chendong around like a sidekick. If Bai Chendong continued to be so indifferent, how were they supposed to work together? Not too far away, Mo Ting's car was parked under the shade of a tree. However, he did not approach Tang Ning to disturb her. After all, it didn't change the fact that she was about to leave with the production crew. A moment later, Tang Ning received a message on his phone. It was a simple message. "I'm leaving, don't miss me." Mo Ting looked at his phone and replied with a few words. "Take care of yourself." In reality, what he wanted to say was, "I'm already missing you as soon as you leave. But I can't bear to let you fly." Meanwhile, Tang Xian's incident caused quite a stir in Beijing. Thanks to the media's influence, she was now viewed as a snake that bullied her stepmother and chased away her little sister. So when it came to manipulating public opinion, she was still far from being able to do so. Because of this, Tang Xian had a taste of being surrounded by the media. On top of that, she didn't dare to let Elder Tang know what happened today. Otherwise, Elder Tang would definitely doubt her abilities and take back his decision to make her the acting CEO. When one thought about it, Tang Xian was indeed quite pitiful. It seemed, she always lived in Tang Ning's shadow. Even the eldest child of the Tang family couldn't compare to Tang Ning in any aspect. On this particular day, as soon as Tang Xian entered the house and saw Mother Tang, her eyes burned with anger like she wanted to tear her apart. But when she thought about the public opinion, she had no choice but to endure. After all, she wasn't stupid enough to cause trouble for Mother Tang at a time like this. She even called Mrs. Tang, Auntie, respectfully. Mrs. Tang was stunned. He thought Tang Xian had taken the wrong medicine. But she did shout without a doubt. That was because Mrs. Tang had no idea what was happening in the outside world. After returning to her room, Tang Xian threw everything on her desk to vent her anger. She even scratched her palms until they bled. However, she didn't care about the pain. No matter how painful it was all in her heart. What was a little discomfort to her? She was indeed not as smart as Tang Ning. This was something she was born with and no one could change it. But this didn't mean she couldn't make up for it. After calming herself down, Tang Xian stepped out of her room and overheard the conversation between Tang Jingxian and Tang Yichen from the second floor. Sister 3 has gone out of town to film. Will the family be able to calm down a little? Tang Yichen had inherited Father Tang's legacy and was currently studying at medical school. As for Tang Jingxian, he had just turned 24. On the surface, he was studying for a postgraduate degree in finance, but in reality, he loved music and had even formed a band behind the Tang family's back. When it came to the Tang family, the two siblings had always remained neutral. Do you really pay attention to Tang Ning's news? I can't help it. Who told Sister 3 to do things that we don't dare to do? Sister 3's new film is co-starring with Bai Chendong, and they're shooting in a beautiful location. I'm so jealous. What's there to be jealous about? They're all dangerous places, Tang Yichen replied. Can Tang Ning, who used to be a model, handle it? You didn't see her audition for Stupid. Sister 3's acting is really talented. She doesn't lose out to any of the A-list actors, Tang Jingxian argued. I am her brother. Do you think I also have acting talent? You're good at acting as an idiot, Tang Yichen said in disdain. That's enough. Do you think the family isn't messy enough? Don't mention Tang Ning in front of Tang Xian. Otherwise, this family will never have a day of peace. But whether it's on TV or in magazines, Sister 3 will always be seen. Even if I don't mention her. Does that mean Big Sis won't be able to see her? Tang Jingxian scoffed. Plus, if I ever have to pick a side, I will definitely stand with Sister 3. That's enough. I have an operation tomorrow. I'm going to bed first. Tang Xian stood on the second floor and overheard the siblings' conversation. She felt something that Tang Yichen said had struck a chord in her heart. She was saying that Tang Ning always went to dangerous places. Since she would see Tang Ning no matter where she went, why not make her disappear from the screen? Afterwards, Tang Xian gave her assistant a phone call. Find out which film set Tang Ning is on, and where she is right now. If grandfather finds out what I'm doing again, I want you to return home and never appear in front of me again. After the assistant heard this, he trembled with fear as he repeatedly agreed. In the middle of the night, the crew finally arrived at their destination. As they were in the middle of nowhere, the crew immediately set up camp. Tongning, since you're with us, you need to be prepared to endure hardships, the director said as he stepped out of the car. There are a lot of outdoor scenes in this film. You will indeed need to travel a long distance. So you need to get used to it. Mo Ting's intention was for Tongning to train herself. Since he had chosen a supporting role, a serious crew and a strange actor, Tongning was naturally prepared. Don't worry, director. Although that's what you say, you still need to take care of yourself. If you need anything, let the crew know. Okay, Tongning nodded. Okay, get some rest. After speaking, the director left. Tongning looked at Bai Chendong, who was quietly helping the crew, so she decided to follow him and give him a hand. However, Bai Chendong pushed her away and said, "This is your first time filming an action film, so you have a lot to learn. Although you have a stunt double, you should at least know what to do. I don't like actors that use stunt doubles the entire time. I hate it when actors don't act professionally. Go and learn from the martial arts director." Tongning was a little surprised. Was he talking to her? Call your assistant over to help. Bai Chendong kept his head down the entire time and spoke in a low and raspy voice. But for some reason, Tongning suddenly felt that this strange man wasn't unapproachable. "Shiner, come and help." Han Shiner glanced at Bai Chendong and said to Tongning, "Actually, I'm a little afraid of him." Chapter 373. Scared. Tongning looked at Han Shiner in confusion. She didn't quite understand what Han Shiner was talking about. "Forget it, you wouldn't understand even if I explained it to you." Han Shiner shook her head. Han Shiner shook her head and said, "Go find the martial arts director. I'll come find you in a bit." Tongning watched as Han Shiner approached Bai Chendong. She couldn't understand. This was obviously the perfect time for a fan to ask for an autograph, yet she was scared. As expected, Bai Chendong had his head lowered and refused to look at Han Shiner. It was this sense of unfamiliarity and distance that made Han Shiner feel uncomfortable. But to her surprise, Bai Chendong gave Han Shiner a similar feeling to Mo Ting on his face. Not only did she think this, she couldn't help but say it out loud. "You look like President Mo. We are cousins." After hearing this, Han Shiner was stunned as she looked at Mo Ting in a daze. "Don't tell anyone. No one will know, not even Tongning," Bai Chendong said coldly before he turned around and tidied up the tent. Han Shiner pointed at herself, a little confused. Why did he tell her? Plus, he was already done with his work. Why did he call her over to help? Most importantly, what did she find out? President Mo and Bai Chendong were cousins. No wonder they looked similar in terms of height and aura. But Mo Ting was more respectable and had a more astute gaze. Whereas Bai Chendong was simply cold. Cold to the bone. Cold to the point that no one could get close to him. Plus, Han Shiner had always told Tongning everything. Why did it suddenly feel like she had found out a secret? Plus, this secret was only known to her and this weirdo. Thinking of this, Han Shiner felt like she was being watched. The feeling of unfamiliarity gave her goosebumps. As Tongning had no foundation in martial arts, the production crew arranged for her to film non-action scenes for the first 15 days. As a result, apart from non-action scenes, Tongning also spent the rest of her time learning martial arts moves from the martial arts director. On top of that, the environment was harsh and the basic necessities were unsatisfactory. The other two female villains couldn't help but complain that they couldn't continue filming in this environment. During this time, Tongning would either be standing to the side doing leg presses, or dancing with a sword. Although she was a model, her body was very flexible. So as long as her martial arts moves were smooth and professional, it was pleasing to the eye and made her look heroic. But because of her seriousness, those that weren't as serious were scolded by the director time and time again. As for the director, he liked to use her as a comparison. "You're late again. Tongning has already started work for 2 hours. Mosquitoes? Of course there were mosquitoes in the wilderness. But look at Tongning's body. There are bruises all over her body, but I didn't see her cry out in pain. That's enough. Even the wife of the president can tolerate it. What else can't you tolerate? During filming, the director was a little impatient, so he couldn't help but blurt out a few words. But he had no idea that these words would make Tongning a lot of enemies. This was especially true for one of the actresses. Due to an allergic high fever, the filming was delayed. However, for the sake of progress, the director allowed the actress to rest after filming until the actress fainted on the arduous set. Does the director really think everyone is like Tongning? You're comparing Tongning to everything. Who is Tongning acting so serious for? She's already married into a wealthy family. Isn't her acting too much? If this goes on, Tongning will have to act on her own. Rumors quickly spread throughout the set. Of course, as a smart person, Han Xiner overheard a few of them. As soon as she returned to Tongning's side, she immediately asked, Ningjie, what should we do? You've almost become a public enemy. It's hard to predict the hearts of the people on set. And you're so far away from President Mo. If something really happens, he won't be able to help even if he wanted to. It was obvious the director didn't know how to act properly. But the victim was Tongning. Over the past few days, Tongning had been busy learning her moves, and had indeed neglected the atmosphere on set. Hearing Han Xiner's words, she had a rough idea of what was going on. I understand. I understand? Han Xiner was worried. Was she done with just one I understand? Of course, she had yet to witness Tongning's ability to win over people. But based on the current situation, it was a piece of cake for Tongning. The next day, Tongning, who was supposed to be on set, unexpectedly did not show up. Not only that, she even made the makeup artist wait for half an hour. As the director was filming, he came across an actress that was distracted. Out of habit, he tried to pull Tongning out to compare her to her. But she was nowhere to be seen. Where's Tongning? She hasn't arrived on set yet, the stage manager replied. The director rubbed his nose, suddenly feeling a little awkward. Meanwhile, the actress looked at him with a gloating expression. She wanted to know what the director would say about Tongning being late. After all, with Tongning being late, they would never have to be compared again. Come, let's continue. One more time, the director waved at everyone. A moment later, Tongning finally arrived on set. In fact, she looked drowsy. The director originally didn't want to say anything, but seeing her like this, he couldn't help but ask, Tongning, what did you do last night? Don't you know that your first scene today is very important? Xiner originally wanted to say that Tongning had practiced her moves all night, but Tongning stopped her. Sorry, director, I was fighting mosquitoes all night. That's why I woke up late. When they're fighting mosquitoes, you're also fighting mosquitoes. Why are the mosquitoes biting women and not me? The director was furious. This is how the environment is. You guys are here to suffer, not to enjoy life. If you don't have the right attitude, you can also leave. I'm sorry, director. I won't do it again. Tongning apologized in seriousness. Look at you. Normally, I use you as a comparison. Now you don't even have the face to do so. The director cursed a little more before letting Tongning off the hook. This time, the entire crew was finally balanced. Tongning was still scolded. How satisfying. Ningjie, I almost made a mistake. I'm sorry. Han Xiner felt she was still too young. Tongning's move not only freed her from the awkward situation of being compared to the director, it also relieved everyone else. EQ was indeed something that only capable people could play with. In the evening, Ting will send someone to deliver something. I'll need you to help me carry it. President Mo is going to deliver something. Han Xiner was a little excited. The place was indeed tough, so she couldn't resist the urge to improve her food. Tongning smiled mysteriously. On the phone with Mo Ting last night, she had asked for a lot of things, but not a single one belonged to her. This production was not like stupid. It was not her territory, so she had to be careful. Don't you have anything you want? Mo Ting asked as he raised an eyebrow. I only want you, Tongning replied straightforwardly. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.